Hello everybody, I'm EnviroBoy. This is my channel. It's Thursday. We're gonna do a little bit of writing today, I think. In fact, I don't just think, I know. That's what we're gonna do because it's my stream and I can do what I want. How's that? It's a good day. Kind of a gloomy day outside of my neck of the woods, but you know, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Sometimes a gloomy day is nice and cozy. Sometimes I like a nice gloomy day for getting some writing done. Helps me not get too distracted with whatever's going on outside. So, you know, we'll just go ahead and look for that silver lining today. And that seems like a perfectly good idea. But yeah, we're gonna do some writing today. My hope is to finish out the details for the chapter that we've been working on in this writing project we're working on. If we can finish all the details, that'll be really good progress, and it'll have built me a pretty solid buffer for my campaign too. I've got that all sort of finished up and figured out. So that's what the goal today is. I think that's what today's goal is going to be. We'll see if we achieve it. If not, it's not the end of the world. I can always find more free time to do a little bit of writing whenever I need to finish stuff up, but more fun to do with you guys, which is why I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to stop talking about it now. I'm just going to actually do it now. Let's head ourselves over here. So here we are. This is where we left off last time. I am going to still have us do our usual warm-up activity of working on a rune here, because I do like making some consistent progress on this project as well. I think it's a fun one, and I think it does help me to sort of get into that writing frame of mind if we start with this. So let's see here. We're working on the level 8 abjuration spells, turning those into runes. Let's go ahead and continue that. Let's see. We'll just go here, go to our abjuration spells. Easiest way to do it, no doubt. Spell level. Boy, we're getting real close to the end of all the spells, all the abjuration spells anyway. There are plenty of other schools of magic, so don't worry. It's not like we're gonna run out of anything. Ooh, Holy Aura. All right. I immediately like this one, Holy Aura. This one's, I can tell just by the name, this one's gonna translate really well. And I really like it because we're basically just going to make an actual holy object. So I think this is gonna work out really well. Immediately, this is gonna just go nice and smooth here. So let's go ahead. Oh, you know what? I copied that a little prematurely. We gotta copy this, insert it where we need it. There we go. And then we can just go ahead and title our stuff Holy Aura. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll be able to just recopy that. I don't even have to select it. Boo. There it is. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. I think this is gonna only be the one. Yeah, it's only got the one bullet point, so this should be pretty easy. Fine light washes out from the item. And coalesces in a soft radiance in a 30-foot radius around you. Around it. Real complicated edits happening this time around. Creatures of your choice in that radius, when you cast the spell, shed dim light in a 5-foot radius, and have advantage on all saving throws. Okay, this is going to need some work, actually. And other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them until the spell ends. Okay, let's see here. Creatures of your choice in that radius. So I'm going to make this automatic, first off. Because it's an item, and so like it's got a permanent state of being. So I shy away from the like of your choice, right? I shy away from situations where the user would choose things, just because I like the item to be, or at least these days, and maybe in the past I've written things one way, but the more I kind of get into this project, the more I realize I kind of like the items just sort of having a permanent state of existence, whatever that may be. So I try to describe things as such here. So so we'll say so the way the way I kind of do that is in this one. I think what we're gonna say is creatures friendly to the user, friendly to the, we'll say, owner of the object in that radius. We'll just, and I'm gonna get rid of this, so it's not like when you cast this, it's just if they're in that radius, they shed dim light in a 5-foot radius and have advantage on all saving throws, and other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them until the spell ends. Yeah, I think that works out really well. It's an interesting thing because, like, for a roleplay, in a roleplay scenario, actually, this is a really interesting idea because it could almost, like, sort of offer a giveaway, right? It could almost offer a giveaway to whether or not someone's friendly to you or not, right? If they have ill intent, the item might be able to detect that, you know, and that's something that you might have to discuss with your players if you're not sure as a DM using this weapon whether you want that ability to be present or not. But I think it's an interesting thing. In a 5-foot radius, and have advantage on all saving throws, and other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them until the spell ends. Yeah. Actually, I'm just gonna say against them. Yeah, it's a permanent object. It stays there. So it's like, and I think what's interesting about these types of things is there are definitely scenarios in which having an item like this could be disadvantageous, right? It could be, you know, because it gives off light. It could kind of give you away. So I have a few thoughts on it. I think we might actually take the any additional notes option here this time and add something. I've got a thought on it, but let's finish what we've got here. In addition, when a fiend or an undead hits an affected creature with a melee attack, the aura flashes with brilliant light. The attacker must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be blinded until the spell ends. I think that stays exactly as it is. I think that's perfect. I am going to immediately add an additional note here. We'll say, if the item is covered, the covering will block the light, nullifying the effects of the imbued object. Right, so I think that actually works out really well. So it's not like it'll shine through clothes. So it's like if you have an item and you keep it in your pack and you want to pull it out in a certain scenario, you can do that. Or if not, you can just kind of get rid of it. You can hide it and then it's no problem. So I think that actually works out really well. I think that works really well. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, see? Because, like, and one of the things that I think works about it is if you get thrown into combat, you might have to, like I would say, it uses an entire action in this situation to pull it out. I guess depending on where the person describes carrying it. Like, if it's just in their pocket, maybe a bonus action. But if they keep it in their backpack, like, that would be a full action to pull that out. So it could be, you know, they have to give up a round in order to pull it out and reveal the item. So I actually think that works out really well. As always, I need to multitask here. Were it only that I didn't have to. Modern day life doesn't really allow for that, though, does it? Modern day life is very multitask oriented. Like, everyone's always got so much going on. You kind of always have to multitask. Has its pros and cons. But, you know, enough on that. If the item is covered, the covering, we'll say, this covering will block the light, nullifying the effects of the imbued object. Yeah, I think that's good as it is. So for this one, I want to say passive buff, right? This is just sort of a passive. It's kind of just always there, and it offers up the buff when it's you know, in effect. Range, what is it? A 30-foot radius. Call this type of unit. Range 30-foot radius. The duration, just kind of not an issue because it just kind of goes on. It's passive, so we'll just leave it there. Attack, save. It doesn't have anything that inherently needs a saving throw DC or an attack DC or anything like that. So I think that's fine. Oh, environment type. There we go. That's yes, yeah. Copy that, and then paste it right there, just because that's fitting the formula that I have. There we go. Okay, as simple as that. And we already added the additional notes as needed. We already took care of that. Good. There we go. That works out really well. Wow, this really was a simple one. That's actually really convenient since I want to get going on our actual writing today. So I think that works out well. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's really good as it is. Yeah, so now the example item. The thing that I'm immediately thinking of, I mean, I do think it would be kind of funny if someone just had like a crucifix and we just went full Catholic Church on this one. I do think that would be kind of amusing, but I don't know. I don't really fit the vibe of my world that I write, so I think I kind of... The other object that I have in mind is, like, I have in mind just sort of like a golden orb that someone carries around them, and it's just sort of like this holy orb of gold. You know, and the idea is that this was, like, attached to a staff or something like that. But it was an actual orb. So I think... Yeah. I'm just gonna call this one Orb of Mount Celestia, right? I think I want to go with that rather than naming it after a god, and because my thought here is a powerful golden sphere that was a gift to an, maybe we'll say, an exceptionally holy priest in times long gone, right? So all of these objects, I like the idea of these objects being particularly old. So here's one of the reasons too why I consider this, like, why I usually have these items be very old. Sort of the lore of my world that I write. I've come up with like a rough timeline of it. In fact, I can put up I have it. There we go, the timeline here. So I have this kind of timeline in mind, and we're in the Unhinged era, right? The present era is what I call it. But there's a series of eras that have happened. And most of these items I consider, like, especially when we're talking these particularly powerful items that are like the items of the gods and everything, I consider those to be part of, kind of originating from an era in my world that I call the God War era, which is a time period where many gods became involved in much fighting, trying to claim their own places of the ethereal prominence. So that's like the time when the gods were super active, making items, trying to influence various beings, whether they be mortal or ethereal or elemental or whatever. So they started creating these items to try and spread their influence. And then that era was immediately followed by the Silent Era, which was a time period where the gods were virtually silent. This was the result of an agreed-upon ceasefire, quote-unquote, to end the God Wars. And then the Golden Era, a period immediately before the Unhinging, so it was considered peaceful by comparison and saw much growth and advancement for mortals combined with relative inactivity between gods, right? So the gods were still kind of doing their own thing, but it was a period when mortals started sort of coming to their own, you know, into their own abilities and prominence with magic use and all that kind of stuff. So the last time the gods would have been really all that active would have been during the God War era, and just like for the rough timeline that I have, I just kind of like, it's kind of an arbitrary number of years because it's just whatever I feel like, but you can see it's like almost like over 10,000 years have passed since the God War and the Unhinged era, which is what we're in. So it's when I'm creating these items, I kind of like all of them are meant to be sort of these godly, ridiculously powerful, godlike items that are, again, from just sort of this era that's long gone, is the idea that kind of floats in my head with these items, these example items, when we're getting to items as powerful. So it's because, and so the concept also is that, between all the different eras and the time that has passed, all of these items are now these incredibly like rare and often in many situations forgotten items. And that's just, it kind of makes them intriguing to me. And it makes it really fun to think about planting them just sort of in an innocuous place that, 10,000 years ago might have been super important, but these days is just some random, hill in a field. And suddenly someone just kind of happens to go digging in, chasing after a gopher or whatever. Like they have their like fox terrier chasing after, some critter, and the terrier finds this item and comes back with it, and suddenly like it's, the orb of Mount Celestia has been has been unearthed and returned to the mortals, and suddenly there's just this ridiculously powerful item in the hands of a peasant or whatever. It's just something I just think that's really interesting. I don't know. It's my take on it. But yeah, so at any rate, powerful golden sphere that was a gift to an exceptionally holy priest in times long gone. Many of the deities... Oops, I always spelled deities wrong. Wowie. Deities. There it is. Many of the... I do actually like the misspelling that I did beforehand, the deities. It's the more Old English version of dieters. People, a collective group of people on a diet. Deities. Maybe it's holy people on a diet, doing like a religious fast. They're deities, kind of like devotees. Anyway, many of the deities living among Mount Celestia during the time of the God Wars collectively imbued this orb with their holy light and energy. Item was then gifted to a deity, a devotee, who they believed could help spread their influence and earn them more power on the mortal plane. We'll say at the order of these... Here's a cool idea. Okay. These deities. The order of these deities, however... how's it going, Savage Dad? Good to see you again. Glad to have you here. Yeah, the order of these deities, however, the item was, we'll say, buried, I don't know, we'll just say in, a, discreet cave, meant to be hidden and to be hidden away from we'll say, from mortals, as the God War era came to a close. There, the item remains. There we go. Remains. It remains. It continues to maim people. It remains. Oh, it remain there. There, the item remains. Forgotten to all, simply waiting for a time that it may be found. Boom. There we go. Map building. Nice. Heck yeah. Map building is 100% an approved reason to not be watching my stream at any given time. For the record, I 100% endorse that idea. We're working on just sort of creating another rune like I do. I like to make a rune at the beginning of any writing session, just sort of as a warm-up. We're making a rune for the Holy Aura spell, which basically just makes an item that literally glows with holy light. And my initial idea would have been, like, as always, I make an example item of it. And my initial idea was just to, like, legitimately make a holy crucifix or something like that and just go full-blown Catholic Church. But then I decided that doesn't really fit the vibe of my blasphemous fantasy world. And so instead we've created just sort of like the Orb of Mount Celestia. And actually what I want to say, item was gifted to a devotee. I want to add who installed it on a staff that was seen by all as a staff of true holy light. Boom, there we go. And actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to put that in parentheses, so that way I don't have to change the rest of the syntax and whatnot of everything that I've already written, because I'm lazy. They believe could spread their influence and earn them more power on the mortal plane. Yeah. At the order of these deities, however, the item was buried in a discreet cave meant to be hidden away from the mortals as the God War era came to a close. There the item remains, forgotten to all, simply waiting for a time that it may be found. So there's just like, the idea is that this imbued item, an item when imbued with this, just like casts off the holy light, right? Like there's no casting or activating it or anything like that. It's just, it sits there and gives off holy light. And so the way you can control it and like turn off the light is you just cover it, you just like put it in a burlap sack or whatever you want to do. And so like my thought is that in some cave somewhere that's not marked, it's not some sort of holy temple, it's just a cave, one that's, it's damp, it's smelly, it probably has a bunch of lizards living in it, and in there's just like a rock in the back of it, and sitting on that rock is this burlap sack with this immensely powerful holy item hidden in it. And one of these days, like, some child is going to just like go exploring with their friend, and suddenly they're going to find this item, and little Stevie or whatever is going to be the next deity to wield the power of the most powerful gods of Mount Celestia. I don't know. I like the idea of that. I love the idea of forgotten. Like it's kind of the same idea, same concept as like ancient technology, right? Ancient future technology that you just sort of like find somewhere, and like you wonder what on earth like could lead to something so powerful, and like it just sort of creates more mystery rather than answering questions about the world. I love that concept, and so this just feels like it very much fits that. Right, just like, because the God War era would have been, over 10,000 years ago within the timeline of my world. So this item that's been forgotten for roughly 10,000 years, just suddenly someone finds it like, what is this thing? Because it was just buried discreetly. It wasn't buried with like instructions on how to use it or like a placard of what it was. The guy is just like, oh, this is what the gods want me to do. They gifted it to me. The gods giveth, and so the gods taketh away. And so he just took the thing, wrapped it up in a towel and plopped it in a cave and then walked away. So I think it's really interesting. I like it. I like this item. And I like this. I just kind of generally like this. So the idea behind this one, so this is going to be interesting with sentience, with a holy aura thing. What it would be, what would be like the evil version of it. Everything else you can kind of make it jive with the concept of holy, right? Like a chaotic holy thing is just like, it's basically someone that knocks on your door and says, have you heard the good word, right? Like that's like chaotic holy. So you can jive that, but like how do you justify evil holy? Like Church of Satan? Does that count? I don't know. Seems a little judgmental. But let's see. We'll start with the easy one. The good. The item I kind of almost want to make it like, if it's a good item of holy aura-ing or oring, that's like oring, that just sounds like, rowing. Like I'm going to oar you. I'll bash you over the head with an oar. You've been oared. The the good aura, if it wants to help the individual, I almost want it to be like the item desires to. Okay, here's an idea. The item wishes to see its owner ascend to holy status, even as a mortal. When the item is used, let's see here. So if it were like a cast to activate type of situation, I might do this. But now that I'm thinking about it, if it's just casually working there, I think I gotta do something else. My thought was when it gets used, there might be a divine intervention where a god comes down and like helps you or something. But I think, let's think about this a little bit more here. I think we can do something better. Let's see here. Creatures friendly to the owner of the object. That radius, shed a dim light in 5-foot radius, and have a range, have advantage on all saving throws. Let's see here. Yeah. Advantage on all saving throws, and other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them. In addition, when a fiend or an undead hits an affected creature, melee attack, the aura flashes with brilliant light. Attack. Okay, so I know what I want to do with evil. First, I'm just gonna open it up with like the self-aware joke. Evil. ... Quote. The item. We'll say the item is particularly hateful of fiends and undead creatures. If, let's see here, when these creatures fail. Okay, wait, hold on. Actually, there's one thing I need to add here though. Con save DC. It's got to be an 18 since it's level 8. That's always 10 plus the spell level. It's a pretty powerful item. It is particularly hateful of fiends and undead creatures. When these creatures fail a constitution. There it is. When these creatures fail a constitution save, in addition to being blinded, they receive. We'll make it 1d8 since it's level 8, right? Let's go with that. We'll make it. They receive 1d8 radiant damage. Radiant damage. Boom. There we go. So it's like it's doing something extra harmful to them. Oh, here's an idea. Good. When, let's see here. The item, we'll say the aura of the item gives off a positive, almost healing energy. We'll say when any player takes a short rest, while sitting within the aura of the item, they can take one additional hit die of healing in addition to the I'm adding a lot of extra A's and I's today apparently. In addition to the remaining hit. Wow, see, I'm doing it. I keep doing it. In addition to the remaining hit die in their pool. I think, yeah, I like that. So the way the runes are, that's a good question. Do they work on like weapons and armor? So the way the runes work in my game, I have a rune crafting system that I've created for my players, and they've had fun with it. So we just kind of keep rolling with it. you know, there's no doubt in my mind that there are plenty of situations in which it's unbalanced and can be abused or misused or whatever. But generally speaking, my players enjoy it, and so we keep going with it, and it hasn't been problematic. But the runes, as a baseline, can in theory be added to anything, though some of them will end up having limitations on what they can bond to. But the idea is typically that those limitations are just inherent to what the item does. So an item like this, it could in theory be anything, right? But there's kind of like an inherent nature of this one. It has to be something that's portable, and if you really want it to work properly, something that's portable and can be covered, right? So it's like you're not as likely to put it on, you know, your big chainmail armor, because it's going to be harder to cover. And in order to not be constantly glowing and giving away your like position to everyone, because it does literally just give off holy light, right? You would need to be like wearing a cloak at all times. And so you could in theory do that if you wanted your character to do it. So in theory it could be done on anything, but something like this would probably need to be on an easily concealable item. But as far as it goes, they could really just put it on anything. It's kind of meant to be, it's a more customized version of the general rune system that you find in Pathfinder, where you can just sort of add these other abilities and characteristics to just about any item if you have the rune. And some of them might be specific to armor. Like sometimes I'll do things where it's like it has to be specifically put on a worn item, you know, so like anything that would increase your speed, like the idea is that it has to be put on a worn item, because that's just how it works. But you know, the other thing about it too is it's homebrew, so it can basically just be whatever you come up with the player. Like any enchanting that the players do, since they kind of do it as a crafting thing in their downtime, you can kind of talk with the players and mold it to what they're interested. Exactly, like mage armor would be weird for a weapon and all that kind of stuff. This one, though, I will say, I'm going to put down, that reminded me that I needed to actually fill this out. The type of item can be imbued on anything, but is best put on a concealable item. So it's like, yeah, if you're gonna get the most out of this item, it's got to be something that's concealable. Because now that I'm thinking about it, this would actually be really cool if you put it on the blade of a sword. So it's like when you're just walking around and your sword is sheathed, it's no big deal. But then like when you draw your sword to fight, like what an awesome paladin item or something like that this would be. If you can like pull out the sword and it glows with holy light, and it like, yeah, leading an army against an evil horde. Exactly. Yeah. It would be really cool. But like I say, my initial thought was that it was just an orb that like that the guy who was gifted the example item, and like he just installed it on his staff, and it wasn't the staff, it was the orb itself. And so the orb gave off this light, and so he had his staff, and like he probably would have had some sort of leather cover that could go over the staff if he needed to be discreet. But then, like, he walked around and he had the staff that kind of glowed with holy light. And it was just sort of, like, part of his person that he had it. So yeah, it's a very flexible system that can be... like I say, it's meant to be customizable, because not only is it, one, meant to just be a way for players to kind of have a lot of fun creating their own customized weapons, rather than just having to constantly trade out weapons, because it's a lot more fun for character flavor if they can sort of like have their specialized set of weapons that do specific things that they're interested in their character doing, right? Like if someone really wants to just be like a guy who's like a firebender, essentially, then like they can just work on creating items that would fit that theme, and so they can have these like magical items that are thematically there. And the other thing that I like about it is you can add runes and then in theory take them off as well. So that way, rather than like, you know, it's like you building your character like, my character is a paladin who never goes anywhere without his trusty hammer, right? And then it's like the first time they find a mace, he's like, well, screw you, trusty hammer, and he just ditches it. You know, it's like having this system in place kind of makes it a lot more fun and easier for players to focus on sort of like the character flavor roleplay side of things, while still getting you know, whatever benefits that they want as they find better items and stuff. It's just sort of an alternative. And like I say, my players like it, so we just kind of keep rolling with it. I'm good for stealth, but I need to find the commander. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. It's like a beacon. It's like the weird days when they would announce who was in charge, so everyone knew who to kill first. It's just like, yeah. I think this one's a really cool. It's just a really cool rune in general. Doing the Holy Aura, I think it's a really fun one that like really does just serve itself well to being a rune. Because it really does just it just fits the concept of like a permanently active item. Like it just kind of fits that atmosphere really well. So I like it. We're taking weapon focus feeds because of those reasons. Yeah, exactly. Like it just like so many people like to do those types of things, and it just like it always felt weird to me when my players wanted to have more powerful items. It always felt weird to me to either ask them like almost like they're shopping, like what kind of item do you want, and then I just like happen to place that item for them so they can get like something that fits their character, or for them to just be all like, yeah, my character, like when I wrote my character, it was like meant to be this super cool ninja that used nunchucks, but then I found a pretty cool axe, and that was just like I was doing more damage with that, so we just went with that. It's like, man, what a lame way to ditch out on that really cool character concept that you had. You know, like I've got one guy in my game right now that like his character's all about throwing things, so my hope is to, you know, plant a couple runes that would like serve really well as like, you know, a glove that could imbue a little bit of magic onto whatever item is thrown, right, or something like that, so that way he can like build upon that concept without having to have like, oh, I gotta find my one specific spear, or have, you know, a bonded item that can like magically return to his hand, or like, you know, have the I'm gonna forget his name, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, your one arrow that you like whistle and it throws around. It's like maybe an arrow that you like, you know, or a spear or something that you like snap and it like flies back to your hand or something. Just it's such a cool way to add flavor, and you give them unique powers with their items so that their items become the stuff of legend rather than just hoping they find some other stuff of legend. And like I say, it becomes unspecial when everyone has a +2 axe of axing. Right, it's like it's not special when everyone just has like a +1 to everything. It's so much more cool to have these types of things. So, idea for the curse side effect. Ooh, okay, I'm immediately interested. The chance that the item will flash randomly during the most inconvenient times. Oh yeah, when it's just like the cursed item. It's not that it's malicious. It is just so enthusiastic, and it is so filled with the holy energy that sometimes it's just, it can't stop, and it just immediately starts like singing Christian rock songs. And it just like immediately announces your presence, and it's like yeah, have you heard the good news? And you're like, shh, inappropriate. We're in the Duragar caves, they're not going to take kindly to this. I like that. I am positive we can find a way to work that in there. Has the worst timing possible. Makes me think of that one church kid that lived in my dorms when I was in college, who would find every opportunity possible to insert the name Jesus into every conversation. It was overbearing. It was overbearing. And we're like, look, it's great. None of us want to take it away from you, but like we're talking about sushi right now. We don't need to talk about how Jesus was a fisherman, okay? Like I understand where the connection came. I understand where the connection came from, but that doesn't make it relevant. Like, I know you connected those dots, but you kind of jumped a few lines there and it's just messing up the picture of the conversation here. Anything on Discord about rune system? You know what? I don't, but I can go ahead and put it there. I can. That's a good idea. I should put that there. I have I have these generalized thoughts to like have some sort of way to distribute the stuff that I've written, because I have a few different like homebrew things that people have shown interested in, and I have in my mind that one of these days I will like find a way to provide them, just like donation based on DriveThruRPG or something like that, just so people who want them can like download a PDF or a Word document of it. And it's just like, I'm not trying to make money of it, off it or anything, but that, you know, to provide people that type of stuff. And the only thing stopping me is that I have not nearly enough time. But copying and pasting some of the stuff that I have, I could totally put that on the Discord. That's a good idea. I should do that. Try and remind me again towards the end of stream, and I'll try and remember to like just quickly throw something over there when streaming is done for the day. That's a good idea. I should do that. There's always one. Yeah, no doubt. Kid was definitely on a different level than the rest of us. Very friendly, don't get me wrong. Very friendly, and you know, at times nice to talk to. It's just there was always as soon as you started a conversation, like an hourglass got flipped, and you knew that sometime within a defined number of minutes, eventually it would go back to Jesus, and it was like, you know, so you'd be like, how many minutes of normal conversation are we gonna get here until? And then he'd be like, 10 today. All right, great. You know, that was nice. That was a nice 10-minute conversation. Now it's time to pretend I've got class. Off we go. It was good stuff. All right, let's see. What were we working? Okay, we got to come up with lawful and chaotic. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing, John. Your idea about it being like this overbearing thing. My other thought was to have that almost be the trait of it being chaotic, where it just like breaks out into him from time to time. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point, Savage Dad. Like they were very friendly. They were friendly. They you know, were like they were only like passively judgmental. They would never actively say you were going to hell. They would just sort of like imply it by saying, "Oh, you should do this thing," like, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's like, you know, we got along well enough. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Oh, you like that idea? The hymn singing one. I kind of like this. It is just so full of the word of Mount Celestia. That's what we're gonna do, of Mount Celestia. Here's what we're gonna do. During particularly tense moments, the item will break out into him. Expanding the aura by we'll say 10 feet, 40 foot sphere total. By 10 foot, 40 foot sphere total. At the conclusion of this situation, however, the item becomes tired and needs to rest, reducing the aura to only a 10-foot sphere. Boom, there we go. I like this. Courage is singing and performs. Oh my god, yes. I've compounded, but oh my god, you could put so many like bullet points, you know, like you could put so much fine print with this, and just like have all these different rules about like, yes, if the more people, oh my god, the more people that sing with it, the more the aura expands. So if you have an entire choir singing, the whole town glows in holy light. If they've put it like on, like if they've imbued the church steeple with it or something. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Oh my god, literally holy church bells. So when people are singing, the bells will start ringing on their own, and the whole town can hear the church bells. My god, I love that idea. Okay, I'm changing the example item. No, I'm not gonna do that. But I love that idea. I just love the concept of that. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. Let's see here. Yeah. It is just so full of the word of Mount Celestia. During particularly tense moments, the item will break out into him, expanding the area by 10 feet. I'm going to actually add a time limit to this. We're going to say, we'll say for up to, we'll give it, you know, I don't have a problem with this, like, being something that lasts for an entire battle when it happens. So I'm going to say for up to 10 minutes, right? So it just like it sings the battle power. So it's like during a particularly tense battle, it'll do this. Reducing to only 10-foot sphere. Or I'm gonna say that it needs to rest for 24 hours though. So it's like if it happens during a battle, then like it'll last for that battle, but then afterwards it needs to take the rest of the day off. So if you have multiple battles throughout the day, then you're suddenly reduced, and so that's kind of like a bit of a drawback. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think that's good. I think it's good. Freddie Mercury looking bard, the staff with the orb in it. The microphone. Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, yes. The holy microphone. Oh my god. That is an image that deserves to be placed into a game at some point. I don't know that it fits the atmosphere of the game that I'm currently running, but god damn it, if I find a moment, I'll put it in there. I'll put it in there. And no one will know because I don't like stream the gameplay, but you know what? I'll know and I will tell you and you'll know and it'll be beautiful. So if it happens, I love the idea. I absolutely love that idea. See, this is why streaming writing is such a good idea, because you guys have such brilliant ideas that just, oh my gosh, so much better than anything I could come up with. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, lawful, if it's lawful. The item okay, here we go. The item is very careful to not disrupt others' freedom to worship whatever deity they choose. The aura around friendly creatures that worship gods of a good, we're gonna say of a good realm, increases to 10 feet, but it will not give any aura to those who worship neutral or evil gods. That's what my idea is. So the one brain cell. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you know what? It's all about sharing the wealth. It's all about sharing the wealth. But then when that one brain cell passes between a few people in the same area, it actually has the chance to keep working on one single thought process, and that's why the ideas end up being great. It's not that you have multiple brain cells, it's just that one of them gets to follow a single chain of thought for a change. You know, I like this one, where it's just like, it's not being uppity about it, it's just trying to be like, hey, you know what, it's this whole good thing isn't your jam. That's cool. I won't subject you to the discomfort of letting off a holy aura. If that's not your jam, that's fine. I'll let you give off whatever Satan aura you prefer. And that's what it does. It's like a super understanding and not judgmental item. Or maybe it is judgmental. Maybe if it's lawful evil and that's what it is. It's like, oh, fine. You know, if my guy, if the holy gods, if the good ones aren't good enough for you, then fine. I guess you can live in whatever heathenistic, nonsensical, you know, life of sin that you choose. It's fine. It's whatever. That's, you know, that's your prerogative. They're just super judgy. Respectful holy aura. I mean, honestly, that seems like the most holy aura. You get the sense that Jesus was particularly about judging people. In fact, that was kind of his it was the opposite of that was kind of his MO, you know, don't judge others. Loved and hated by him. Right? Yeah, there's something like there's something particularly cloying about it, where it's like on the surface it sounds wonderful, but there's something just kind of a little too much about it under the surface, right? It's a very cloying item, which I think is fun. Like that's a hard balance to strike, right? I like it. Oh my god, I like it. I like it so much. All right. If it's cursed. I love the cursed nature of this. Okay, here's my idea with cursed. And here's the reason why. Because as much as I liked your idea, John, I think that is kind of covered in chaotic. Because here's my idea of cursed. Okay? It has the exact same powers, but the polarity of it is reversed. So it like has this like dark aura. It like absorbs, like it almost creates like a black hole. And so it sucks in the energy and it sucks in the light. And it gives off this dark aura. And what it does is, rather than like having the special effects of it having to do with being a fiend or an undead, perhaps it's with like holy creatures that have weakness against it and all that kind of stuff. Is kind of what my thought is. And that's the cursed version. You've created like an inverted holy item. So it's like an anti-holy item, is what my thought is. I really like that. And like the extra powerful benefit is maybe that, you know what, I'm not even gonna say extra powerful or problematic side effect in this one. I'm gonna like do the rare move of just like nixing that type of stuff. Oh, that is not a phone. That is not a number I am answering from. That is 100% going to be a spam call. 100% not answering that one. More above the 9 hells. Yeah. It's just like this anti-holy orb. But yeah, I think I'm going to do what I usually would refrain from doing, and I'm going to just ignore the usual of this, because I think this idea calls for it. I think it's perfect for that. I like this. The item has all of the same traits, but inverted. It gives off a black aura that absorbs the light around it and places this aura on the owner's companions. So does that, like, I'm gonna go through here and I'm just gonna like kind of piece by piece talk about it. Creatures friendly to the owner of the object in that radius at a dim light. Yeah, so it's still got that. And let's see here. Yeah. But inverted to their companions still have advantage. So it still gives them like advantage. Still have advantage on saves. So yeah, we'll do that. Let's see here. What else do we need to think here? Other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against them. Yeah, that all just stays as it is. In addition, when a fiend or an undead hits an affected creature with a melee attack, the aura flashes. So let's see here. So instead of a fiend or an undead, I kind of want to go. Hold on, I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna cover it all. I just want to look at monsters here. Look at our types here. Like a celestial. What do you suppose? Like a fiend or an undead. What do you suppose would be the opposite of both of those? Just to, like, for the sake of conceptually having it balanced and be two. Like a celestial and, I don't know, what do you think? Maybe, like, Fae's not quite right. An elemental, maybe? This covering is still suppressed. Ooh, there's a good, I would say so. I would say so in this scenario. I would say celestial or living. Yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah. We'll just say a celestial or a humanoid, right? We can just say a humanoid. Something that has a soul, right? Which I guess could include beasts, because dogs 100% have souls, and I will not listen to anything that discusses any idea otherwise. But yeah, we could just say celestial or a humanoid. Because like a humanoid is like a living undead, right? An undead is a dead humanoid. So a humanoid is a living undead, I guess. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see here. Or we'll say, okay, so we'll say pulses rather than flashes. Aura pulses. Choose targets versus effect. It just affects everything within the aura. Cause like I'm trying to pivot a bit more because I like them better, especially for these powerful items. Trying to pivot a bit more towards just like there's a permanent trait rather than like the person has the ability to cast the spell. Because if it's just the person has the ability to cast a spell, you're basically just turning the item into a spell scroll, and that's too samey. That's too boring. I like to try and convert them to like a passive, like a just a permanent state of being for the item. So So yeah, it's kind of always there. So we'll say aura pulses when, okay, how is it said? When an affected creature is hit by a melee attack from a celestial or a humanoid. There we go. We'll say let's see here. So that if a constitution save is failed, they are blinded due to the extreme darkness caused by the aura. So it's like rather than flashing and blinding you, it just like it takes away your eye's ability to see. And it's inverted like that. Is the idea that I have there. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, that's such a cool inversion. Yeah, exactly, Savage Jet. I agree with that 100%. Like, it just sort of like, it creates, like, it helps, you know, it kind of plays in, like I was saying, where not only is it, like, that's a really good point. Like, it's not just that it kind of lets them thematically create items that they want, but it can, like, fundamentally impact the type of character they have. Like, this, having the rune system, I think, really just turns getting better items into a role-playing experience, right? As opposed to it just being a gameplay mechanics alteration, with like having a +1 sword does, right? Because if you go from a sword to a +1 sword, you're doing everything exactly the same, you just have a +1 to do it. Whereas if you're like doing this, you're impacting how your player might behave, especially if you end up with something powerful like this. Oh, I really like this. I really like this. Okay, so what it takes to remove must be removed magically. We'll say if the owner tries to abandon the item, they... Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think here. If it's sucking out the light. Okay, here's what I want to say. If the owner tries to abandon the item, it will, like, what I'm thinking is it'll almost basically go full Dementor, right? Because, like, this thing is, because the idea, so I'm just trying to think about conceptually what's the opposite. So if it's giving off holy light, like, the idea is that, like, something that gives off holy light would, like, imbue others with hope. So if this thing is, like, absorbing light, then it's, like, it's consuming hope is sort of the idea. So it's, like, owner tries to abandon the item, it will consume any hopeful emotion within the owner's heart, leaving them in a state of inconsolable despair unless they reclaim the item. So it's like if they try to get rid of it, it'll just do that. Like it'll like it's almost like the item sort of claims part of their soul, and it'll take that soul with it if they try to leave. I really like that. That is such a cool idea. That is such a real. That's just a cool idea. I'm really into. I'm gonna give myself a nice little pat on the back on that one. Leave the item, get clinical depression. Yeah, exactly. I like the idea of that too. Of it just like being this like really sinister, like this really sinister, subtly, like the subtle but sinister way to get back at someone you don't like. Like if you know you have this cursed item, you know, go through the process, get it magically removed from you, and then gift it to someone so that it like rebonds to your enemy. And so it's just like, haha, it's everyone else is going to be depressed around you, or else you're going to be depressed forever. Have fun, dick. And then just like leave them with it. What a subtle way to get back at your enemies. I would do that to my enemies. I would do that to them. Actually, I don't know if I would. That's actually really dark and twisted. I would give my enemies depression so that they slowly experience life in a worse and worse light over time. That seems a little cruel. I feel like that would be a little too evil for my tastes. Like I guess I just prefer the concept of swift vengeance as opposed to like slowly torturing someone, especially emotionally. That's pretty dark. Pretty dark. So yeah, I take it back. I wouldn't give this to my enemies. I feel like this is the type of thing where I wouldn't personally do it, but if someone else did it to someone evil, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fair. That tracks. I ain't gonna interfere. I ain't gonna interfere here. It's that level of evil. It's just a little cruel, yeah. Yeah, just a bit. A bit. I like this. Man, okay. I feel like this kind of goes without saying, and I feel like this is a kind of a, well, duh type of situation, but man, these runes of these high-level spells are super cool, and I like them a lot. Chaotic evil, way to get vengeance. Yeah, I could see that as being, I would define that as chaotic evil. I agree. I just noticed. I don't think the camera's gonna pick it up. I have my lamp over there. There's 100% a spider just chilling in the lamp, because there's a moving spider-shaped thing in the bowl of the lamp. I don't know if it's gonna be able to get its way out or not. I don't know if it's gonna need to. It's a lamp. It might be able to just draw in all of the fruit flies. And honestly, because I try to eat healthy, I make sure I have fruit around here. Fruit flies are a consistent potential problem in my place, and honestly, if that spider there has figured out the best way to trap them, you know what? You go, spider. I've always said I have basically an ongoing truce with spiders, because like I am 100% a person that my instinct is to be creeped out by spiders and not really like them. But I also understand their value and importance and the fact that they don't actually like have it in for me. So like I kind of have this passive truce with spiders where it's like, you know what? You just stay in the corner. If you make your webs out of the way of anywhere that I need to frequent within the house or in the apartment or whatever, like if I don't have to see you and interact with you in any meaningful way, you go ahead and do your thing. You do your thing. Just like, you know, if I am in the shower and I see you're trying to make a nest on the shower head, I ain't gonna take time to move you, man. That's just you know what it is. You know, you goofed up, and natural selection is gonna make sure that you don't make other spiders that are gonna goof up. That's my way. A little cold, perhaps, but I will accept creating a fly trap in the lamp. That is an acceptable sharing of space, because I don't frequent the inside of my lamp. So it's one of them lamps that has a switch way on the outside of the bell of the lampshade. So yeah, he can just be there. This is poisonous. Try to leave it. Yeah, if it's poisonous, you get what you get. That's you have moved from harmless to harmful potentially, and that ain't cool. That ain't cool. Anyway, thanks for going to my TED Talk. My spider philosophy thoroughly explained. I don't know. It's an emotional rule. It has many exceptions, and those exceptions change from day to day. But as a general rule of thumb. Anyway. Family of daddy longlegs. And daddy longlegs are fun. I think of daddy longlegs as kind of amusing. Because one, like, they're not actually spiders. And the other thing about them is, like, they just, like, maybe it's because they're not spiders. They just feel like there's some sort of weird, awkward guy who's trying to be a spider, but not quite pulling it off, right? It's like, yeah, he's got the idea. They've got, like, these big, long legs, but I think he overdid it a little bit. Because he's just, like, this tiny little, like, goobery ball on big, giant legs. They amuse me. Anyways. So, yeah, I like this item. I like this rune / item. Because I think there's a lot of potential for a lot of really cool items. So I'm into it. I like it a lot. That's a good warm up. Yeah, like I say, it goes without saying. I know it's kind of like a well duh type of statement, but like I'm super into these high level runes here. Super into it. Daddy long legs. Don't work brown recluses. Oh yeah, brown recluse. Well, that's the poisonous spider claws right there. That's, you know. They're not like brown recluse in my area they're not like particularly native to this area. but they do, like, they can pop up. Like, they can survive in this area if they end up here, but typically speaking, in my area, they're much more likely to be here if they accidentally got shipped here with something, you know, like in a produce bin from somewhere else a bit warmer, a bit nicer. Or at least that was what it was last time I checked. I don't know, global warming changes things, so I don't know. And I also could just not know, because I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't go out of my way to look up things like spiders, because as I said, as a baseline, they do kind of creep me out a little bit. Like, I'm not afraid to admit that. I think they're awesome and important, but also I'm like, you stay over there. I view them the same as I view children, right? Like, I recognize their importance. I know they're a necessary part of life, but I prefer to not have anything to do with them. Because I find kids I find more gross than creepy, but also kind of creepy. So you heard it here first. Kids and spiders, same in my book. Exactly the same. Yeah, no. I don't mess around with poisonous spiders, though. I agree with that. I agree with that one completely. All right. I got enough for both of us. That's right. That's right. So I remember our discussion about whether it was whether the savage came before or after the children. whether you were already a savage or the children have just made you one. All right. So I am ready. That was a good warm-up. That was a super good warm-up, and I'm stoked to continue working on now that we've thoroughly warmed up our brain spaces here. I want to keep working on the campaign. My hope is to like finish the details of this map, so that way this chapter is pretty much ready to go, because we've pretty much done everything except for put the map details on this chapter. But I really want to get this chapter done and maybe even start onto the next one, because I've been brainstorming some really cool ideas, and I've got some ideas for expanding the story. Like, I really feel like I've got some cool stuff to beef up our story a little bit and add some really cool, intriguing, you know, things for my players. So I'm really excited to do that. But first, I gotta go wee-wee. So I'm gonna run to the bathroom. You guys aren't coming with me. This isn't that kind of channel. There are other sources for that, and if there's high enough demand, suppose you can let me know. But as of right now, I am not that kind of streamer. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'm gonna refill my beverage. I'm gonna do it alone. And when I come back, we're gonna go ahead and do some more details here. So sit tight. I appreciate your patience, and I will see you in like 1 minute or so. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Alrighty. Back. I'm going to do my best to not be distracted by that spider, but every time I look up there, like he's 100% doing laps around the bowl of that lamp. Like he'll be gone, and then he'll just like start creeping his way back around. He'll be gone again. Start creeping back around. I'll do my best to not get distracted. Everything it did. I appreciate your concern for my my urinary tract health. It did. It was a very successful pee. I'm quite pleased with the results. It's been a good day. It's been a good day. I appreciate it. That's very kind. That sounds like I mean this in like the most positive and amused way. That's like the most dad question to that scenario I have ever heard. Like everything go okay in there? Hey there, Orange Ink. Exactly what you heard. Everything is healthy and functional. I went to the bathroom, and Savage Dad was kind enough to ask if everything was successful, and it was. It was. It's been a good day. It's been a good day. And you know what? I'm not embarrassed to talk about that. I feel like there's almost too much of a stigma when it comes to talking about your health, both physical and mental, right? Like, you know, not to say that we should all go announcing the things that are wrong with us or right with us per se, but like, I feel like we shouldn't be embarrassed to discuss the things that work well, right? Or the things that aren't going so well. Like, it shouldn't be a problem because, you know, like if something's wrong, you know, you should hear encouragement to you know, seek out assistance to get it right. Or if things are right, we should all agree that like that's good, right? And we should all be encouraging of that. So that was the best reaction to the dad question. You know, for someone who isn't a dad, I am 100% a huge fan of dad humor. I get it from my dad. I don't know if I've told this story on stream before. Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad we could give you a strong introduction to your joining us. I'm glad we could start strong for you, Orange. Like it's you know, it's good. It's good. But yeah, I get my sense of humor is heavily influenced by my dad. And one of the best examples I can give about where that comes from, I have a vivid memory, and this is like one of my earliest memories, because I can think about the house that I was living in at the time when it happened, and I can think about, like, I can remember okay, so here's, I'm gonna paint a word picture for us. I'm gonna practice my DMing and paint a word picture here. Okay, so this happened at a time when I know I was in elementary school for a few reasons, because I can remember where my ma was working at the time, because at that time my ma had a job that she was an assistant to an individual who was a businessman and who had to travel quite a bit, so she would occasionally have to travel with him. And so I can remember this happening at a time. This happened when she was off on a business trip. You know, she had to be. This was one of her trips. This one was actually, it was like to a big conference that was like out in Las Vegas. I remember this because that was the trip that she went to see Cirque du Soleil and had like all kinds of cool pictures and stuff from that. But at any rate, that's a cool aspect of it, but that's not what the story's about. Like I can remember it was at that age. It was like late elementary school, like 4th, 5th grade, something like that. And in addition to that, I know my dad was back when he was the director at his vocation, because I remember my dad being in a suit when he did this, and my dad, as soon as he didn't have to wear suits anymore, as soon as he moved on to different work that didn't require him to wear a suit, he stopped wearing suits and just went with, like, you know, collared shirt. So I know he was still the director at that point in time, and I can even hear him chewing. I can even hear him cracking his spearmint gum that he would have every day on his way home, so that way, like, he, you know, was still kind of fresh when he got home to the family. I would assume that was his thought process. At any rate, my dad in a business suit, okay, and he and I are both excited because this is the first night that Ma is out of the house, so we don't have to have you know, a good home cooked meal. We can have whatever crappy meal we want. And so my dad comes to me and he kind of looks at me and he's got this sort of like devious grin. And he's like, "Do you want to get McDonald's for dinner?" And I'm like, yeah, I do. As you know, a little kid, like, of course I did. You know, so he's like, yeah, it's great. Hey, you know, and so like we start heading towards the garage, which we have to walk through the kitchen to get there. And so we walk into the kitchen. My dad's like, "Oh, do you want a shake with your McDonald's? You want a milkshake with your McDonald's?" And I was like, yeah, of course I do. That sounds awesome. He's like, "All right, yeah, I got you." And he diverts. Walks over to the fridge, pulls out a jug of milk, looks me dead in the eye, big grin on his face, holding the jug of milk, goes, "There's your milkshake." And he puts it away. And I lost it. Because then he immediately after, he's like, "Oh, wait, hold on. I bet you'd prefer a chocolate shake, huh?" And so he holds up the milk, and then he reaches in the fridge and pulls out the chocolate syrup and starts shaking them both. And then puts them back in the fridge. And I was losing it. I think about that a lot. Because it is probably the most quintessential example of my dad's humor and how it has become my humor, because I still think that's one of the best jokes I've ever heard in my life. So, you know, use that one for yourselves. Okay. It's a good one. It's a perfect one. And if you're wondering, it was indeed just a joke. We did immediately go to McDonald's and I did have a milkshake and it was delicious. I remember that whole evening. It was a good day. That was a real good day in my life. So, you know, now you know my origin story. You've heard the story of one of my core memories, right? From the Disney movie. I'm forgetting what the title of that one was, but with all the emotions. Yeah. Good stuff. So, you're welcome. Probably no one on earth finds that as funny as I do, but god damn it if that isn't critical. They are the best. Well, not necessarily. There are like sad core memories too, right? But like, you know, I feel like core memories, kind of like the moral of the moral of the story, you know, of that movie is that like things can be sad and happy. So like core memories are just kind of all there. So you use the joke. I'm assuming you mean the joke there, Savage Dad. Good. You better have. And you better keep using it. And every time you use it in proper dad fashion, in proper dad humor fashion, every time you use the joke, you have to use the same joke regularly, but every single time you have to tell it as though you've never told it before. Like you have to. Like that's the only way to properly do it. Yeah, it is a vivid memory in my head. It's one of my exactly. It's because it's a core memory. Yeah, it's there. I'm curious about what other core memories. I feel like a core memory too isn't something that you can like intentionally draw up. I feel like memories in general you don't intentionally draw up. Like you just kind of remember them, right? Because as a baseline you aren't remembering your memories. So it's like something needs to remind you of them. Isn't that kind of an interesting thing about memory? Like you can't our memory isn't like a bookshelf that you can browse. It's just kind of like things get drawn up, oftentimes at random. Like you can try and intentionally remember things like for a test, but there's still that context of the test, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, no, that is a very essential memory to me, and it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm just Hi Hungry I'm Dad. Oh my god, that's a perfect one. That's like such a perfect joke in general. Anytime someone makes a declarative statement about what their current situation is, when they say, "I'm anything," you gotta do it. When you bring one up, they just keep coming. Yeah, I suppose that's fair. Like, if you bring up one core memory, like, I'll probably start remembering a cascade of, like, things that are really important from childhood, right? Because, like, now I have the context of good things from childhood. Like the time, see, it's happening. Like the time when I was at a friend's birthday party. It was at an ice rink, and they had one of them claw machines, and I won like 4 stuffed animals with only like I only had to use like 10 quarters, and I got like 4 stuffed animals out of that thing. It was probably one of my defining moments. I don't know that I've ever been more successful at something in my life, to be perfectly honest. I actually kind of have good luck with claw machines in general, because there was another time there was a claw machine. I won a SpongeBob backpack out of the claw machine. It was so big, they didn't expect anyone would ever win that thing, and it was so big that it wouldn't fit in the in the slot to grab it out of, and so it was just kind of sitting on there. Luckily, there was like a box that made it really obvious when you grabbed something there. So we went over and grabbed one of the employees, and you could tell they didn't believe me. I was a little kid, and I was like, no, I did. And they came over and they saw it. They're like, wow, he did. And they were super kind. They grabbed a what did they end up using? Like, they had to find, there was like, oh, what they ended up doing was they had like one of them hooks that you can use to like hang things up on like a display board, like things that are really high. And so like they had like a short-ish one of those that they were able to, uh-oh. I don't know if I'm still live right now. My monitors are freaking out. Uh-oh. What is happening, computer? I don't know if I'm live right now. My computer is freaking out on me right now. Hello? Computer? Hello? Are we still live right now? I hope I'm still live. It looks like it was just the monitor spazzing out. I like that. I really hope that it didn't, let's see here. Yeah, I hope it didn't. I actually kind of hope that it didn't disrupt the stream just now. And that I just really look like an insane person. Or sitting here wondering if I'm still live. But no, like they had to use one of them hooks. Anyway. I'm frozen, but I'm live. Okay. Okay, wait. Saw just freezing. Okay, hold on. We'll see if it catches up. Oh god. Oh god, everything's insane. Oh, I can totally see there's lag in my camera though. Hold on, let me reset my camera. Looks like most things have caught up, but let me reset my camera. I think there's definitely some 1 frame per 3 seconds. Yeah, okay, so it was the whole computer like spazzing out. We seem to be good now. Okay. Well, okay, at least I'm not an insane person. Hold on, let me reset my camera. Don't worry, I'm still here. This isn't the computer freaking out right now. This is just me freaking out a little bit. Camera. We're gonna get the camera back. There it is. Up. There we are. There we go. Okay, we're back. Yeah, that was weird. That was real weird. Anyway, I don't really remember where I was in the story. But yeah, I got a SpongeBob backpack. They had to like get a hook to like kind of pull the thing through the slot for me. And they were super kind about it. They were like, yeah, no, you legitimately won that thing. Let's get that for you. And of course they would have had to do it anyway because it was blocking up anyone else from being able to get any prizes. So they would have gotten in big trouble there. Dad played claw machines at least once a week. I always walk out with an armful of stuff. Nice. But sabotaging the machines, that's impressive, honestly. If you're so good at something that like they have to start cheating to make sure that you don't win. Like that's like the arcade version of being a successful card counter and then having to get beat up by the bouncers. Much more wholesome, but you know, same principle. Oh, did the face cam have a delay? Okay. Yeah, sometimes that happens, and usually I can tell on the little playback monitor there. But okay, all right, I think we're back. Maybe that was my computer giving me the hook and say, listen here, buddy, you're on a spiral, and memories are fun and all, but we got business to take care of. We wanted to finish this thing today, so we're gonna try and do that. We're gonna do that. That's what I'm hoping we can accomplish today. So let's accomplish it. I need to pull up a map though. We need to pull up a battle map, so that way we can put in all the details of it. Open up the Null Siege battle map. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, back now. Time to focus. The computer was like, listen here, dude. Your memories are fun and all, but people didn't come into the stream. Isn't titled, me sharing my memories. The stream is titled World Writing. So we better do some stuff before I get busted for false advertising, eh? All right. So we have our situation. I'm just gonna give the rundown of what we're working on right now. Usually I would give a background to my world, but I'm pretty sure everyone here right now has kind of been there and kind of knows the gist of my world. And if not, then just watch like any of my other writing streams. I usually go over it at some point in time. But for this one, we're basically just creating a field that has a whole bunch of gnolls that are camped out to lay siege to the town that our players are from. And their mission, there's like a gnoll leader. Their primary mission is they need to go like eliminate or capture the Gnoll leader. But then in general, if they can weaken the Gnoll forces enough to kind of make them run away, there's also going to be some prisoners around that they can rescue. So we just kind of need to flesh out the details for all these areas. This looks like a pretty close and narrow packing of everything here. But the idea is kind of meant like it's meant to be, it's compact for the sake of keeping one map, so there's not too much stuff for my players to have to load. When playing, when we're playing on our online system, because not all of them have computers, not all of them have the means or willingness to spend as much money on a computer as I am. So I waste my money how I do, and they waste their money how they do. But yeah, like it's all meant to be one compact battle map. But the idea is meant to be that there's a bit more space. Like the space between all of them is kind of meant to be more like this. We've got like 50, 60 feet or something like that. So you got a good like 20, 30 yards between any of them. A lot of them look a bit closer. So it's almost more like this one's meant to be way, way far, and these ones are kind of there. So there's a bit more separation to offer players, as long as they're quick and quiet about things, to be able to go from pack to pack without drawing the attention of all of the gnolls, is the idea. But other than that, we kind of just have a singular open battle map area. And yeah, so we gotta put some details here. We already started mapping out a couple of the areas, or fleshing them out a little bit. So let's continue it, hey? So area number 3. Which area did I number 3? This one right here. Okay, this is just kind of meant to be a large encampment of a lot of gnolls. I think I'm gonna have this be no, that one's gonna be like our boss battle right there, and we already fleshed that one out. I'm just trying to think about my standard distribution of. Anyway, so a lot of times I'll kind of randomly distribute what the dangers are around here, but I want to try being a bit more intentional about it for this one. I have a lot of internal debates on whether I always want to do random, or if sometimes it serves better to do intentional. I like to do random because it keeps me from doing the same thing over and over again, right? And it helps me mix things up, but sometimes it just makes more sense to be a bit more intentional with stuff. So I'm gonna try with this battle map be intentional about how things are set up. And so with this area right here, I think I want this one to be a medium battle, because the idea is that some of the gnolls that would be camping out here are going to be attending the siege weapons. So like these will have some easy battles here, because there will be a few gnolls at each and a few that are back here. So I'm gonna make this one a medium one, under the concept that it would normally be hard if there weren't enemies distributed here. Same with probably this one. This will probably be a medium one, because there'll be a small number of them guarding the prisoners there. So we can do an easy one there, and then like we can just have this be like the additional hard battle, because they're all just kind of sitting there chilling, and this one maybe doesn't have a battle associated with it, or something along those lines. I think that'll work. I think that'll be a functional distribution. I think that works, because then 8 here, that's meant to be the cave, and that won't have a battle, because that's kind of meant to be an area that the gnolls aren't monitoring. That's kind of a stealth, incognito way for our players to get in there if that's what they want to do. So yeah, okay. So number 3, this one we're gonna put a medium battle here. Medium battle. Well, let's see here. And then I like to just sort of, if there are substantial rewards, see, like this one didn't have substantial rewards or anything, but this one kind of does. So I like to put a note there just for quick reference on what's there. This one does have possible prisoner key location. And I think that's all that we need to do for that one. So medium battle, I don't know. I haven't decided what rewards are or aren't going to be there. So let's go ahead and first just, let's see here. The danger, or wait, hold on. First we got to do the narrative. But actually, we'll do the narrative. We put that first, so that way it's there and ready to be read first thing when I get there and when I'm running the game. But we'll leave that blank. We'll do that kind of at the end once we decide what we want to do. The danger here, is going to be a medium. How have I been handling this? Yeah, okay. The danger is a medium battle. Medium battle. worth. Okay, what's a medium battle supposed to be? I've already mathed that one out. Somewhere around 650 experience points. That's easy. That's easy. Into the kitchen. Well, you know what? That is a perfectly valid. As someone who works pretty hard to keep his place at least somewhat tidy, I totally appreciate that, and I 100% endorse cleaning the kitchen. So by all means, I'm happy to serenade. It's not really serenading. I'm not singing. I'm happy to be the background noise while you're cleaning. There you go. There you go. All right. So if we're gonna do a medium battle, I think I like the idea of maybe doing. You can do 2 of these guys, and 3 of these guys. So there's a fair number of them. So it kind of simulates there still being a lot of enemies. Actually, wait, hold on. It'd be 2 of these guys, 1 of these guys, and 3 of those guys, maybe. We could do 2. We did 1 of those guys. Maybe it's 1 of those guys, 3 of these guys, and 3 of these guys. Maybe that's how I want to do it. I actually like that a bit better. Like, kind of one guy who's, like, in charge of the camp, and the rest of them just kind of hanging out there. But we'll make that with 650 XP total. I'm actually going to say XP total. I'll leave our bullet point there. 1. Here, we can do 1. Set it up so I know. So, yeah, that'd be 200, 3, 4, 500, 556, 650. Yep, that's how we want to. That's the distribution that I want. Copy that. Copy that. I have become the pilot. To that. Don't ever let me pilot anything. I don't know how to do it. Boom, there we go. And then last one. Take a couple of these guys. So the thing too, I kind of talked about it before about how I'll reskin items or creatures to kind of fit the situation that I'm looking for. And so in this situation, even though we have like the Gnoll Witherling there, none of these gnolls are actually undead. The Gnoll Witherlings are just like really weak, you know, chump-ish gnolls, or snolls, I should say. So, because remember, this is a snowy environment with gnolls, so they're snolls. My players brilliantly came up with that, and I will absolutely sing the praises for their brilliance on that one as any chance I get. Because I do think that was a fabulous titling of the enemies by them. Okay, rewards. Boom. We're just I feel like for this one we just need to do a regular old treasure hoard. There's a lot of guys here, so there's a lot of guys here, and I'm gonna go ahead and offer up a treasure hoard. Because like the collective, they might have a few more. Not all of the groups of gnolls are gonna have a hoard per se, but some of them are, based on them having. So it's like these guys kind of have a large collection of tents, so it's like it would make sense that after looting the city a little bit, they might have a collective chest where they're putting all of the loot that's meant to be kind of like, you know, the collective shinies and wealth to bring back to their home base whenever they're done with this siege, you know, back to the Gnoll King or whatever. I haven't really decided who the leader of the Gnolls is going to be quite yet. It's going to be a leader, but I haven't decided that one quite yet. I have ideas about it. I got ideas, man. I got ideas. But for now, we gotta go to our loot gen table here. And we are gonna do a horde 0 to 4 challenge rating because these guys are pretty weak. And do that one. I'm gonna, for this one, because it's not the boss battle, I'm gonna ignore the magic items and assume that any magical items would have been collected up by the boss that they'll have handled. So we're just gonna copy this and then put it to gotta do a little bit of editing here. One, I don't itemize the gold, it's just all gold. My players made the request, and I think it's perfectly sensible and totally acceptable. They weren't super big fans of having to spend the time mathing out how many gold and silver and copper they would have and they would spend at any area. So they've kind of They requested, and I was perfectly fine with this. They requested that everything be rounded to the nearest gold piece, including anything under a gold just counts as 1 gold. And I was like, you know what, that's totally fair. They get plenty of gold. That even if in you know, a night at an inn costs a whole gold for 1 room as opposed to a silver, it's not like that's going to hurt their personal coffers per se. So I acquiesce to that. Let's see, I'm gonna clear this out. This, I don't like leaving sometimes I'll leave links, but I don't like doing the loot gen ones because it links back to the loot gen page and it just like re-rolls. It either it'll re-roll or it'll take it to the big huge compendium rather than the specific card for each thing, and so it's just not functional. So we'll go ahead and remove that link. Boom, there we go. Only other thing to do here is 4, so that way I know right up front there's 450 gold piece gemstone. So perfect. Messing with the concept of how the classes will work in your world. I have a knight, ranger, the range type, mage, artificer, combination of the thing, cleric, warlock type, almost aired, and a sorcerer, druid, hybrid of sorts. Are you? I'm trying to remember. Orange, your project. Are you creating like your own rule system? Is that what you were? Is that what you were doing in your world? Kind of creating a more specified set of classes and rules. I'm trying to remember. I know some people. I've had a couple people mention that they're kind of like creating their own rule system stuff. I can't remember if you're one of them because I'm a terrible person and don't pay close enough attention. Nothing personal. I don't pay attention to anyone. All right, it's not just you. Don't worry. Mission tie-ins. I think I need to be. I don't like. Yeah, it needs a little dash. Just. Boom. Gotcha. So you're making your own world that has its own rules. Gotcha. Yeah, I've done kind of my own rules system beforehand, kind of, where I used like the fate system, right? Because they have the existing fate system, and I used that, and I kind of like made a lot of heavy modifications. I used that as a framework one time to try and create a sci-fi type of system. It was a cool system. It was kind of an interesting system, and the players that I was with at the time liked it. Unfortunately, the players I was with at the time, we were all very, very busy, and the game didn't last long because of scheduling issues. So it's like 5e, but more different. Fair enough. All right, let's see here. So mission tie-ins. In this situation, done underlining here. Underlining. I think really the only tie-in for this one is going to be capturing gnolls, if they want to. Really, the purpose of having this camp here is just that it's an area of it's an area that has gnolls that could have their attention. Like it's just a complication for this open battlefield area. Like they're right there by the woods. You know, like if we look at our map, they're right there by the woods if our players decide to do that. If they try to like move up the cliff through this little hill that's right there, you know, they're going to be like right in the line to go before the players can get to the boss. So it's just like they're kind of there for interference. We don't need it to be particularly special or unique going on there. So I think that one's good. I'll just add a little descriptive narrative here. Different over here. I'm getting a group get together consistently. You have tabletop to work on a novel. Nice. Yeah, scheduling is perpetually the issue. The solution that I found that's worked the best with this group is you need 2 things. One, you need a group of people that are actually willing to prioritize spending time with their friends, which is weird to phrase it that way, but I've kind of found that that's true. People, even when it's like doing something fun with their friends, people are not super eager to schedule a regularly recurring thing. It's like they're too afraid to say like, oh yes, every Sunday will be devoted to this, you know, if it's just with friends, right? Any other thing in life they'll do that for, but the thing that we all say family and friends are the most important thing in life, and yet that's the one thing that we're least willing to devote time to, which is a weird thing, right? But it's like, you know, whatever. But the solution that I found is, one, I've looked into finding a group of friends that actually does devote the time. But the other thing is using online has really helped, so that we don't have to drive to anyone's house on a consistent night, right? It's like we all just got to go sit down at our computer, you know, and so it's like you can almost still, you know, it's a lot easier to not have the whole night devoted to it rather than just a couple hours. So that's the solution that I found. But you know, it still depends. There's only so much you can do as a DM. It depends on people being willing to, you know, devote the time and energy to it. So at any rate, let's see, our narrative for this thing. Every other week is fine. Yeah, you have to do reminders. You have to do reminders, otherwise people will forget. Like, you have to do reminders throughout those 2 weeks that you're not playing, or that week that you're not playing too, because people will forget and they'll make plans and stuff like that, or they'll forget which week is on and which week is off. So every other week can work, but I've actually had more luck doing every week than every other week. Just because everyone knows, like, no, Monday nights are booked. You know, for me, it's like, I know Monday nights and Wednesday nights are booked, because those are the nights, you know, Monday I'm the DM and Wednesday I'm a player in a different game. And it's just like every week, that's just it. And then, like, with the understanding that every once in a while we need to cancel so people can do other things, and a willingness to go without a person. If one person has to cancel, then you just say, like, yep, the group will collectively sort of, like, take a poll on what they would do in this situation. And it's fine. You know, that works out pretty well too. But all right, let's see your narrative. Oh boy, I don't know. We'll just say here. Snolls have many things that they are good at. Particularly when it comes to warfare. However, setting a neat and tidy camp is not one of them. Tents lay scattered without any sort of consistent layout or direction. As a result, you suspect that you know, I'm not even going to add any sort of thing about, like, whether or not they would have success. I'm going to say, like, as a result, you suspect that, you know, it would be hard to know exactly how to sneak through here. But I'm not even going to do that. I'm not even going to give them, I'm not going to feed them that information. We'll just let them discover it. I'm going to sort of lay out a direction. Many, let's see here. The Snolls mill about the camp. Occasionally chittering at each other, and a couple sitting by small campfires. They don't seem exceptionally attentive, though they are certainly awake and active. And that's a fun one, because we can, even if my players try to get clever about it and be all like, oh, we're gonna attack at night, it's like, okay, well, you know, they might have an easier time sneaking in between tents and stuff like that because it's dark, but these guys are still awake and by the campfire and stuff. So I think that works out well. Yeah, I think that's all we really need for the narrative. Just trying to kind of like set the scene up for a little visual. Sometimes I'll think to myself, like, you know, your primary senses, your sight, you know, when it comes to seeing an environment, right? So you can do like sound, sight, smell, right? Maybe touch to a little degree about like if it's meant to be like super humid in an environment, or if you're walking through sand or something like that, but you can kind of add that. Taste is largely irrelevant unless you explicitly want it to be like, you know, weirdly poetic and be like, you can taste the fear in the air, right? It's like then you're just being metaphorical. You're not actually talking about taste. But I'll try and think about the senses, you know, and kind of offer that. So it's like this one. You know, we've offered the visual, obviously. It's not very tidy. Tents are scattered around. Auditory, the occasional chittering from gnolls, kind of, you know, talking to each other in their gnoll language, whatever that would be. I don't remember off the top of my head. I know it's right on the character sheet. But yeah, like, just kind of try to describe that there. We could also add some scent, but like I feel like people kind of will inherently understand that gnolls are kind of stinky. They kind of got that wet dog odor about them. Yeah, especially these ones because they've been romping around in the snow, but then they're just like sitting by the campfire. So it's like, you know, they keep having that water, that snow kind of melt and soak in their pelts and stuff. So it's like, yeah, eventually it dries up, but it just kind of smells like wet dog around there. It's just not great. This is not great. Let's see here. Let's do, okay, so now for the next area 4, you know what I'm gonna do just to save myself a little bit of time. Narrative. Actually, here's, narrative, danger, rewards, and then mission tie-ins. I'm gonna do that. Copy. Paste. We're just gonna fill. Oh gosh, why do you insist on doing this to me? Thank you. I hate that it does that. Yeah, I guess we can kind of subvert its insistence on offsetting them. But it bothers me when it's not centered properly. Alright. One note. Try to behave a little bit, would ya? Sheesh. Okay, there we go. So now we've just got everything there, so now we can just like start writing it. It'll fill it out. Well, let's start a World War II vibes with magic. Knights would work. Maybe more mobile with lighter armor. There's no counterattacks. It sounds like you could almost have like it sounds to me like if you're kind of trying to go like World War II but with magic, then you could really kind of go with that like steampunk, Dishonored type of vibe. Then is kind of what it sounds like to me. But that's just me and my brain. I don't know what your grand vision is. So you know, feel free to ignore everything I say if I've got it completely wrong. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the vibe that it immediately sounds like. So I guess then it's like, hey, good job. You're conveying the environment exactly right. Okay, section 4 right here. Another section of camp. Let's see. What was I talking about? I was thinking about maybe having this be the hard battle. A little off to the side, and I like the idea of making this one the hard battle just because that means there'll be a lot of them. So then you can have like if they cause a commotion over here or down here or something, then you can have a big pool of gnolls to kind of draw from there, and you can like piecewise have the battle get more difficult as they're trying to deal with things. And that can always be a fun thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the danger for this one a hard battle McCormick. And the reward, oh wait, hold on, this one doesn't have anything particularly special for rewards, so we're just gonna do that. And so we may add a reward, but we're just gonna start with our hard battle. It's a very hard battle. Let's see here. Heck, it's just a little more glowy. Fair enough. Glowy is a perfectly fine descriptor and a perfectly fine environment to go for. I like glowy. We created an item that's all about glowing auras. Check out that movie, Sucker Punch. Oh yeah, Sucker Punch. Oh, that's classic. Oh boy. Arcane. I'm not familiar with Arcane, so I will assume that it's spot on, but it means nothing to me. But yeah, I mean steampunk. You say steampunk, and most people can already get the general idea. A lot of clockwork type of technology, which is a really cool vibe in general. Okay, so this one, if this is gonna be a hard battle, McCormick, it's very hard. Somewhere around 950 experience points worth of combat here. Like kind of maybe the idea, maybe we can just go 3 of these guys. We could just do 900 experience points. How are we doing with our experience points actually? Because some of them you can kind of dip over and dip under. Actually, no, screw it. We'll just go for, if it's around, it's supposed to be a little over 950. We'll just go for the 1,000. It probably won't make or break the battle, all things considered. So we'll just go straight for 1,000. So we'll do 3 of these guys and 4 of those guys. And that'll be good. That's a pretty significantly difficult battle. So 3 and then 4. Let's see here. Oh, you know what I'm supposed to do? We need to do a herd. Nope, not underlined. Herd battle, and then worth 1,000 XP. Food hall. Totally. And we'll just have those a little bit there. Boom. Let's see here. So we were gonna do 3 of these guys. Copy that. Lazy. Don't really want to retype all that out again. I don't even think that's actually being lazy. I think it's perfectly. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give myself the benefit of the doubt here. This isn't me being lazy. This is me being efficient. Yeah, I need to stop being so down on myself every once in a while. And once in a while, go ahead and give myself a little bit of credit here. This would be the Grimoire Chronicles. Yeah, pretty well, and they have some cool magic. Nice. I'll have to try and remember that. I'm always looking for good stuff to read. And I do like a good series to sink my teeth into. I've been rereading the series of Unfortunate Events because classics. I mean, come on, classics. Those are fun. Those are real fun. Okay, rewards here. We're gonna give these guys also a horde with hard battle. With a hard battle, McCormick and lots of enemies. Makes sense that they would have that there. Just do another loot here. Yeah, we're just going to again. I'm actually even gonna. Let's just. We got 191 gold, and then we'll just copy and paste. Rewards 191 gold pieces, and then paste that. For that. Don't need it. Right, actually, hold on. Let's get rid of. Whoops. No. I want to get rid of our links. Remove the links. There we go. That was 2 of these. I believe it said. Oh, it makes sense because there's 6 things total. Lazy is efficient. Yeah, you know, it depends. It depends on whether they like. It depends on whether people are impressed or annoyed with your efficiency, and that usually has to do with whether or not there's competition involved with your efficiency. Bosses hate efficiency; they'll call it laziness, because they want to. They want to feel like they're really putting your nose to the grindstone. Boom. At least you're efficient. There we go. See, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page here. Very good. So yeah, I'm not being unfair to myself. It seems like I'm just matching the general consensus of the room. Really, I'm just being aware of the social situation. That's what's happening. All right. Great. Mission tie-ins again. I don't think we need many mission tie-ins for this one. I think this one we can capture any snolls if desired. That's really about all we're trying to accomplish. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting about any missions that we set for this. Let's see. Authorities in town will put up a request for capture. Oh, you know what we can do? I think I'm gonna do one more. We'll have that one also be the may have key. Boss may have. We'll say one may have key. The prisoners. Do that. We'll say. One. Snoll here may have key to prisoners. Key to what? Not their cages, their hearts. There's one Snoll that he's got bad ideas, but like good intentions, right? Like he was hoping we could. Hidden number? Not answering that one. It's a shame, too, because that's my work phone. I get so much spam on my work phone, it drives me insane. Because it's, like, clearly, like, the thing is, it's clearly, I'm sure I've said this on stream before. My work phone clearly has a recycled number. Like, it's clearly a recycled number because I'll get appointment notifications for, like, random people. It's like, William, you have a dentist appointment. And I'm like, I haven't been for 3 years. How has this guy not noticed? How has no one noticed? Unless it's a scam that's like trying to get me to reply, and once I do, they like, you know, have a DNA sample or whatever weird thing they can do through technology nowadays. I don't know. Look, all I know is my personal phone, the one that I'm not obligated to answer ever, gets fewer spam calls because I can screen everything unless they're saved. The name is saved in my phone, because if it's not, then I don't want to talk to you. You know, and like I add the people that I want to talk to. But my work phone, like, you know, people can call. And so if it's a somewhat local number, I still have to answer. And so because of that, I accidentally answer the spam calls from time to time, and boy, oh boy, it's game over there. All right, so let's say, we'll say one snow here may have key to prisoners. Add more. Yeah, I think there's going to basically be 3. I'm going to have 3 totals because we're going to put those right there. Yeah, you know, we're just, you know, it's just going to be 2. It's going to be on either that one or the boss, depending on which one makes more sense. Scammed by Big Dentistry to get me to schedule an appointment. That's it. I knew it. Those bastards. Those bastards. They already gave me a filling. What more can they do to me? I knew it. I knew it. Ah, those dentists are out to get me. It's that 5th dentist, the one that doesn't like the Colgate toothpaste that I use. Asshole. Gonna try and, he works for Big Sensodyne, is what it is. Damn it. They're after me, lucky teeth. That's gonna be, I'm gonna devote myself to that conspiracy theory. That Big Dentistry is trying to get us. That's how I'm gonna make my millions. Okay, I'm gonna do the whole like you know, Scientology thing. Only it's gonna be like about like the conspiracy isn't about like alien spirits. The conspiracy is about dentists, and I'm just gonna start spreading this and like incessantly believing it, and I'm basically going to, in 20 years, just you wait, in 20 years I'm going to be the Alex Jones of oral hygiene here, claiming that it's all been a conspiracy, lying in court just for the sake of, even though I'm going to jail, getting more money off of those clicks on my website. That's it. That's my new angle. I'm gonna hold on. This right here, ladies and gentlemen. This right here. This is it. This is what they want you to do. That's what they want. They want you to use this. But you see this? You can read the ingredients on there, right? It's all poison. And then, oh my god, I should stop doing this. Someone's gonna come in here right as I'm doing this, and they're gonna think I'm serious. They're trying to get the frog's teeth. They're trying to go Ninja Turtles on our asses, and they're trying to give the frog's teeth, and it's creepy and no one wants it. That's how they get their. They're trying to give they're trying to give the frog's teeth, and then they're gonna try and turn your children into teeth. That's what they want to do. They're gonna tell you that it's essential to have clean teeth, but I'll tell you what, my grandpa lost all his teeth, all right, and he was still able to eat liquids. He was still able to consume liquids. He lived. You don't need your teeth. That's a lie that big dentists tell you. I gotta stop because someone's gonna come in and they're gonna believe me. And the thing is like, people will actually believe this crap. They will actually believe this, and like, and one day it will become a real cult. It's dangerous. Anyway, I'm not using Colgate. I use Crest. There it is. Pro Health. And this isn't a sponsored stream. And the reason that I use Crest, you want to know why I use Crest Pro Health? Because it was on sale when I went shopping. That's what my life is. What brand is on sale? Not the children, no. Not the children and their teeth. Yeah, if we needed our teeth so bad, if it was essential to keep our teeth clean, why do we lose all of our teeth and then grow them back? Huh? I'm telling you, the only reason we only grow back our teeth once is because we keep them so clean. If we let them rot, we would just be like sharks. You don't need to spend money on toothpaste. You don't need to do it. Case in point, it happens. Kids don't brush their teeth properly, and that's how they lose their teeth, right? And then we finally brainwash them into brushing their teeth properly, and that's when they stop going through the natural process of losing and replacing their teeth. It's just like shedding skin. It's a natural process, and those dentists want you to think that it's necessary to have oral hygiene. All right? If God wanted my breath to smell like mint, he wouldn't have made buffalo wings so delicious, okay? I'm just saying. the human teeth gay. That's why you want to lose him. That's why you want to lose him, right? God, I don't want no gay teeth in my mouth. All right, I don't want to be chewing on any dicks here. Like there's so many confused misconceptions in that sentence. I love it. Jokers who would beg to differ about them growing back. That's right. That's because God hates them, all right? Because God hates meth addicts, obviously. Right? Maybe if they weren't so busy pissing off God with all of their gay meth orgies, maybe God would let their teeth grow back. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's really easy to be a conspiracy theorist. All you have to do is say whatever nonsensical bullshit. Like, that's the thing that's like, I know I'm 100% on a tangent right now, but I'm just like pointing it out. That's why, like, it's so easy to be a cult leader, and like why they're so persistent, and why they're like always gonna win an argument, because they don't actually care about logic. They just say whatever illogical thing comes to mind that makes it sound like there's a reason for whatever it is they're spewing. It does not have to be correct. They know it's not correct. They don't care. Their job isn't to be correct. Their job is to make other people more angry. Okay, I'm ditching this topic. Don't get me back on it. I'm ditching this topic. I'm done talking about the gay frog teeth, okay? We're done. We're done with it. We're done with it. It's game over. It's game over. I like factory games. I don't know that I have a clear understanding of what would constitute a factory game when I think about it. So I guess I would say I haven't played them then, if I don't even really know what would constitute a factory game. I mean, the only thing I can think of is I know there's like actually a game that's like you make a factory line. I've heard about a game that does that, but I don't know if I've never heard that as like a genre of game. All right, narrative. Hold on. I said we would get this done, and we've gotten like 1.5 regions done. Let's say it. We'll just say these gnolls. Let's see here. We'll say though they've set their camp a little ways from the core group, the large number of them almost guarantees that they'll see you if you attempt to approach them. Even at a distance. Wait, hold up. Large number of, I'm gonna say here, of snolls here almost guarantees that they'll see if you attempt to approach them. Even at a distance, you can smell such a large group of these creatures. It isn't a good smell. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Factorio, Satisfactory, those types of games. I've not played it though. Okay, yeah. I haven't. I've heard of both of those. But I have not played either of them. I feel like those things are kind of hit or miss for me. Like, I do love Cities Skylines, and I love like Power Washing Simulator. There's a certain type of sim game that gets it for me, but like sometimes they got to be at the right time, and they've got to be like in the exact right blend. So you like the smell of wet dog though? I can actually understand that. I'm not gonna say I like the smell, but I will say that the smell is a nostalgic one. I would say that for me, the smell of wet dog is a nostalgic one. I haven't had a pet dog in a little while now. My dog it was my dog in high school. And then, you know, she stayed with my parents once I kind of moved out, just because I was busy working, living alone in an apartment. I just wasn't in a situation where I could have a dog. So then she stayed with my parents, and she passed away a little less than a year ago now. Yeah, like the smell of wet dog is a nostalgic one for me, because it makes me think of, you know, of good old Serafina. May her soul rest in peace. And then even then before that, the last dog we had before her was our golden retriever Penny. So like And you know what? Actually, okay, here we go. Core memories too. Smell of wet dog really makes me think of back when I worked at a kennel that bred Newfoundlands. That was a strong wet dog smell regularly. Not by anything. It wouldn't have to rain or anything. They just like to splash their water bowls around. They were very messy, sloppy, goofy dogs. So that was a good time. I remember the one dog. I remember the one Newfoundland. She was such a sweetheart. Every time I would go in to clean her kennel, I would go in there and she would immediately jump up and give me a big bear hug. And I would just kind of have to sit there and give her a bear hug back until she decided she was done. Because it's a Newfoundland. It weighed like twice as much as I did. Great dog. Factor game, but focuses on tower defense. Yeah, like, I could see myself being in the mood for it, but it's not a type of game that I typically go for. Those genres. Like, occasionally the mood will strike me and I'll be like, I feel like playing a tower defense game. And I'll find one and I'll play it for a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't call that like a go-to genre for me. I wouldn't call it a go-to genre for me. But I'm gonna leave it that it's not a good smell, because wet dog is only one of the myriad of describable defined scents coming from these snolls. It's like wet dog combined with backwash and Ode to Dingleberry. I don't know. I like that. Ode to Dingleberry. I'm gonna laugh at my own joke there. That was a good one. I like that one. I'm happy with that one. Yeah. Okay, we got that one done. I'm gonna have to describe one of these as Ode to as Ode to Dingleberry. Okay, our next area 5. Okay, this is the one with the prisoners. This one's gonna need a little bit more description. Aw. The danger here, we're gonna make this one an easy battle. the Dingleberry did it, yeah. always, yeah, you gotta grab the Dingleberry. Dingleberry is just such a good term. Dingleberry. It's such an innocent term. It's kind of like, it's like the poo version of when I say I have to make pity whistles, right? Where it's just something, it's just silly enough to just kind of be funny, more funny than gross. Let's see. It's free Mindustry. Okay, interesting. I'll have to try and remember that. I'm gonna take a look at it one of these days. I'll have to try and remember that. All right, let's see here. Danger. Ununderlined. We're just gonna make that one an easy battle here, because they've just got a couple little dudes guarding it. Easy are supposed to be worth, what was it? 320, somewhere around. We'll go with 350. Always easier to just round it up. I always do the exact mathematical amount just in case it serves to like do less, so that way I can still sort of understand. But I always just kind of err on giving them more experience points, because you know it's better to err on the side of they level up a little earlier or a little extra than not be leveled enough by the end of it. So we'll say 350. Gonna be about 350. And I think what I'll do is I'll go with 2 of these guys and 3 of those guys. So it's like, cause like, you know, they'd want a significant guard, but they would just put a bunch of like crappy lackeys there. Crappy lackeys, crappies, if you will. I think I will. Those are the ones that smell like Dingleberry. Crappies. All right. What did I just say? We'll get 2 of the one type. Worth 350 XP total. 2 of the one type, 3 of the other type. Grab. Actually, no. We can just kind of copy it from here, right? Copy there. Boom. 2 of those, and 3 of these goobers. And that. Put them right. There we go. Yeah. Perfect. Right. Okay, so the rewards here. The rewards are going to be. Okay, we're going to say. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a horde. We're just gonna kind of come up with. We'll just kind of roll on the table randomly to see what each individual wants. We're not going to do a horde. We have 5 enemies total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 13 plus 14. So 27 plus, we'll call all that 2 more. So 29 gold total. That's what we'll do for these guys. 29 GP. And underline 29 gold piece total there. And then we're also going to say, I guess as far as reward, that doesn't really, there's not really anything else to say about it. With mission tie-ins, though, we're gonna have some stuff to write here. We got prisoners here. So let's ununderline here, and let's go ahead and get ourselves our DM note color here. So mission tie-ins, we'll say this is a good place. We will say can capture snolls if desired. Please keep it bulleted. Thank you. OneNote. Right, let's see here. Prisoners can be rescued, but the key isn't here. So we'll have to find key elsewhere or pick each lock. Prisoners can be rescued. And the other thing that I'm going to say is prisoners can offer info on where to find boss if players are still searching. There we go. Can do that. And there's one other thing. Nope, never mind. There's another idea related to, so I've talked about on here how we kind of have a mechanic going on that will allow me to like kill players without killing them, which is that there's like a deity that's been displaced, as part of the unhinging and lives in this area, who will basically slowly turn them into an undead servant, under the, she does it like slowly under the guise of like, oh, I'll send you back to life because you have more stuff to do, right? While like secretly kind of reclaiming some of their soul. And so I had this idea that they might occasionally run into other minions, right, who are kind of like at different levels along that process, different states of being already minions of this deity. Is sort of the idea that I have. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to introduce that yet. We're still pretty early, and I want that to be something that starts popping up a little bit later. So I am going to do that, and I had the thought of having one of them be someone who's being held prisoner by the Snolls. But I don't want to do that yet. They were going to be at one of the Snoll camps rather than being here in this like siege base area. So I think that's all we need. And that gives us some possible tie-in type stuff. So I think that's good. The only other thing that needs to be done is these need to stay black. I don't know why I don't like that when the bullets turn red, but I don't like it. So here we are. Let's see here. So we'll say a cluster of rusty but sturdy cages stands in a makeshift forest. In a makeshift makeshift iron forest. By the we're just gonna say makeshift iron forest. We'll just leave it right there. Makeshift iron forest. Inside are huddled. We'll say inside each are huddled various scared, cold, and thirsty prisoners from town. We'll just say you don't recognize any. Well, we'll say some faces even appear familiar as you recognize various neighbors who have visited your shops. I'm saying shops because like all of them all of the players kind of had like a vocation. They're starting off not as like soldiers, but just as people who, like, the state of the town is that like everyone who lives there is expected to, if you're an able-bodied individual, help fend off the Snolls in this point in time, because there's so few people that like the guard alone wouldn't be enough. Everyone is just like everyone's part of the National Guard. It's compulsory, right? Like you have to do military service. And so, but like they all have like their own day jobs, and it's just like when things get bad, they get called to arms and they pick up whatever rusty sword they can find and off to war. So, but yeah, so some faces appear familiar as you recognize various neighbors who have visited your shops or live on your street. The look in their eyes tells you that it was not we'll say that there has been no proper rest for them. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say that. Just like it goes without saying. I'm just gonna say a few lowly Snoll lackeys are scattered among the cages, patrolling and guarding, though you can tell that the Snolls aren't particularly fond of this tedious job. Boom, there we go. Perfect. Good. Okay, cool. We're halfway done with all of our descriptors, and now that we kind of got our momentum going, I think we can finish today. I think we can do it. I'm gonna make sure we do it. But before we continue making progress, I have to, as I discussed, is my favorite way to describe it, make pity whistles. So I'm gonna run to the bathroom, I'm gonna refill my drink, and I will be back shortly. So I appreciate your patience. I will be right back. I'm also gonna put my toothpaste away. We're done with that gag. So brush your teeth, kids. Alrighty, there we go. Much better. Alrighty, on to our next room description here. Now, once you kind of get a rhythm going, it actually can go pretty quick, filling out the details of these rooms. The hardest part is kind of coming up with good narratives for all of them, especially when you're just kind of like talking about your more generic rooms that don't have a whole lot of fun stuff going on, which I think is kind of the situation for all of these, because this whole chapter is kind of taking place on a big open field. Like, there's some interesting topographical things for players to sort of use for battling, but when it comes to describing things, it's all open campground essentially. So there's not a whole lot of really cool things to describe, but you know, it's enough. It's enough. It's getting the job done. But yeah, okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Area 6. Which one's area 6? Oh, up here. Up here. Okay. Got it. So that's just gonna be some trebuchets. It's gonna have an easy battle. Let me make sure. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm balancing my battles properly here, and that I've got them all mixed up properly here. Yeah, we did. We already have one easy battle. And then we just did an easy battle here. Oh, I haven't been. Got to say. Set this to an easy battle. I might actually upgrade that to a medium battle and just add like 1 or 2 more of these gnolls here, just to beef this one up a little bit, just so that I can leave the. Actually, no. You know what it would make more sense to beef up? It'll make more sense to just beef up this one because it's just it's a collective of it's like a campground. It makes sense for there to be a few more. So I'm gonna beef this one up a little bit because I want to save. Because I always do 3 easy, 2 medium, 1 hard, and 1 boss battle. And so I want the trebuchets to just have easy ones because they're not actively attacking right now. So there's just a couple that are like posted there, and that's it. So I want those to be easy. And I wanted the prisoners to kind of be an easy battle too, just because. I like realistically thinking about the gnolls too. Like they know, like conceptually, that it's a good idea to guard your prisoners. But the flip side is they're pretty overconfident about the situation, and they feel pretty good about the fact that like these prisoners are just like townsfolk who aren't getting out, and like they've set everything in the center of the campground, so they think they're safe. They're not really thinking about the fact that there's. You know, like they're unaware of the cave that's there, is sort of the idea here. So I think that makes sense. So we'll have this be a medium battle. Medium battles are worth what now? About 650. That's worth 350. So if we got 350, if we do that, so that's gonna be 450. We do 4 of those, and then 450 plus. If we did 5, yeah, if we did 5 of these guys, so there's a lot of them actually. There's a whole bunch of them crowded in there, but why not? Let's just do it. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Yeah, and we'll just leave everything else how it is there. I think that's good. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So now we can say this one will have an easy battle. And there's not gonna be. Oh yeah, and we'll just say. Oh, I still need to. I still need to put my little cliff notes up there. So this is going to be. What was this one? Easy battle. Easy battle, and then I do want to put a note here. Prisoners. Yeah, we'll just put that right there. Little cliff note there. That one's good. Easy battle, and we'll say. Possible. Well, we'll just do easy battle, and we'll just say war equipment. I'll just do that because there's like all the trebuchets and catapults and all that kind of stuff there. Perfect. Danger. Easy battle. Worth 350 XP total. So now this one we can go ahead and do. We've got the easy battle. We've got 2 and 3 right there. Maybe if we do, we'll just do. We can do. If we do 1, 1, and 1 of our like 3 lower tier guys, where are they? Where is it? Yeah, if we do 1 and 1 and 1, right? 200, 300, 350. That's perfect. We'll just do 1, 1, and 1. Copy. One. And then one of just our regular Snolls. Only reason I'm not changing all of these guys to Snoll in this part here is because this is a mechanical thing, and it's important for me to remember that I need to use just like the regular Gnoll or the Snoll Witherling, or the Gnoll. Say now even I'm replacing the word regular Gnoll or like Gnoll Witherling stat block, even though I'm calling them something else. Need to make sure I actually describe it accurately enough for myself so I remember what stat blocks to use for these battles. Kind of just like how I've never been calling them Witherlings, right? They're just like really wimpy gnolls, but I'm using the Witherlings, so the title Witherling for this part stays. Oh, excuse me, I apologize. I apologize. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna go with the sparkling water. It's not a La Croix this time though. This time it's the bubbly brand. See? You can't really see it. It's kind of washed out. There's bubbly. They call it the bubbly bounce because it's got caffeine in it, and I am addicted to that. I have a problem with it. No, it's the opposite. I don't have a problem with it. I love it. I have a problem with drinking too much of it. Yum. It's mango passion fruit hinted. Okay, anyway. Rewards, these guys are just gonna have a few things on them. We'll just go ahead and roll 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. A few, so that one's like 1.5 gold. 1.5, so 3 gold. We'll just call it 4 gold, whatever. 4 gold total. Oh boy, they're gonna be real mad. Rewards for GP. Oops, don't want that underlined. 4 GP. There we go. Perfect. Mission tie-ins. This one can capture, like, I feel like almost saying this kind of is a redundant thing because all of them have it, but I just want to make sure that like it's made perfectly clear all along. We'll say players can try to disable, or we'll say destroy or just disable oops. Yeah, there it is. Siege equipment if they want to. Boom. Could have said if desired would make it sound more like nice, but I'm not feeling exceptionally poetic at the moment. Maybe that's all the more reason to try to be poetic to get myself there. Without adding lime, typically a hard to adjust flavor to me. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. First off, let me just say, adding lime is a brilliant idea. I might have to do that. The other thought I've had is adding a little bit of like tart cherry juice or something like that, just to flavor it up a little bit, or like even just getting like those small Crystal Light packets to like a sparkling water. Adding things like that. That's totally fair. It actually took me a long time to get to a point where I liked sparkling water as well, because the flavor was hard to adjust to, because I really like soda. Like, I know it's like really cool and in vogue these days to be all like, oh, I don't drink soda, regardless of if you're talking about diet or regular. But I will happily say I love soda. I primarily drink diet soda because it's better for me, but I love it. It's delicious. It's delicious. It's like drinking candy. I love it. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't. So I kind of got to this though because like, as long as it's got a good like after flavor, and the fizz can kind of help curb it. And the reason that I like just doing that is because with the fewer even artificial flavorings, it's a little bit more hydrating. So it's like a bit more of a refreshing beverage after like a workout or something like that, when I don't want to just sit there and chug water or make myself more thirsty with soda. So that's kind of why I dove into it. And these days I actually just kind of like it. So make me feel bouncy. Not yet, but you have to give it 20 minutes to take effect, so we'll see. It has a warm-up period. I need to have enough of the bounce, of the bubbly bounce inside of me before I before I really start bouncing. That's kind of a weird way to phrase it. I need something inside me for me to start bouncing. I'm not gonna say that anymore. We're just gonna move on. Narrative of this one. A few bored snolls sit around the idle catapults. I'm not surprised I didn't know how to spell catapults. Oh, I just added an extra A in there. Great. Yeah, but once a week, maybe I only do juice or water. When I do water down. That's fair. That's fair. I oftentimes will enjoy like a watered down Powerade or something like that too. That's fair. Yeah, I just like I'm not gonna you know, try and dance around it. I'm still very much an 8-year-old that likes really sweet things. I have a very strong sweet tooth, a very active, a very aggressive sweet tooth, and like I'm tired of pretending like it's manly to not have a sweet tooth. I love desserts. I love sugary drinks. They're delicious. I know enough to avoid drinking them or eating like candy too often, but I love it. It's delicious. So, but yeah, something about the carbonation and the after flavor of just like the hints of fruit and stuff that they'll put in there is enough that it satisfies me without me like, you know, drinking an entire case of Sunkist a day or whatever. So there are a few bored snolls sit around the idle catapults. They appear exceptionally bored. You can hear a couple of them wishing that it was time to fling some more rocks again. Boom, there we go. We don't need a whole lot more. Just a little bit of description. It's just meant to be a little something that if my brain isn't working right, like if I'm particularly tired while I'm DMing, I like putting these narratives. So that way if I'm really tired, I have something to read to describe the scene well enough. I will just try to usually ad-lib and describe it. But some days, you know, because we do it, that's the thing about doing it every week at the end of a work day. Some days you get there and you're just like, brain hurty, not work right. Just, and yeah, there's nulls, fight them, whatever. You know, it's like sometimes you're just in that mood. And it's like, it's not that I don't want to play D&D, it's just that my brain ain't working. It's tired. You know, if you've had a day with a lot of meetings or something, it's really helpful. I've noticed myself relying on it from time to time, and it's a good thing. Anyways, yeah, that's enough for that one. On to room number 7. Oh, we're totally gonna finish this. Totally gonna finish it today, guys. We're gonna finish it today. I'm gonna make sure we finish it today. Don't stop me from finishing it today. Sorry, got a little aggressive there. It's my fault. 7 down here. This one I'm gonna leave empty here. Largely here. Danger. So we're gonna say no danger for this one. No danger. There's no danger there. No danger. Narrative will still get their rewards. I do want to put something here though. Trying to decide what would be kind of interesting. Oh, here we go. Here's a fun one. Well, let's see here. That's right, making progress. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Baby steps are still valuable. Oh, shoot. I put the no danger in the wrong place. Beans. Beans. Now we're undoing it. I got too ahead of myself. I'm trying to decide. I usually like to include various, like, traps and puzzles and stuff for players to have to figure out. But it just doesn't really make sense for there to be traps around here. The gnolls are feeling kind of like they're in charge. It's like if they're gonna make a trap around their own like ritual grounds or something like that. So I feel like this one might just be like an empty area. You know, there's not much going on there. Maybe the rewards are just like they can find some scattered around. Like, I'm trying to think, like a ritual ground. Like, what would? It's not really even meant to be a ritual grounds. It's just like a little bonfire area, right, where they can all just kind of gather at night and like, you know, cook dinner collectively is kind of what it's supposed to be here. And so I'm just trying to think about Would there be anything intriguing for players? Like, I don't want to put something without having there be a reason for them to go and explore over there. Only thing I'm wondering is if I can, like, it would be a really dark thing to do, but we could put, like, some bodies there or something of, like, some of the prisoners that they just kind of, like, screwed around with or something like that, and the reward can be if they find personal effects, we can return them. We can add a little bit there. Like, I'm not afraid to make things really dark for my players, especially in the setting. The setting is meant to be one that's very dangerous and very dark. And so I feel like that might... Wood scraps in a fire that isn't quite extinguished. Definitely a fire that's not extinguished. There's a chance for Smokey the Bear to show up. He's canon in my world. Excuse for the return of Smokey. Yeah, we were totally on the same page. Totally on the same page. This is why I appreciate my audience. You guys get me. I feel so heard among you guys. Oh boy. No, I like the idea of like a smoldering campfire. And I think I do actually like the idea of there maybe just being like around the campfire, maybe there's like a charred body or something like that. Like it's really dark and twisted. But like I really want to set the stage that in general the Snolls here are an enemy, and actually it's going to be beneficial for later on for some of the ideas that I have for sort of expanding upon who these Gnolls are, where they've come from, what's their MO. I think it would actually serve pretty well if we've established the situation that they're not just like good at war, right? But like are downright barbaric in some ways. I feel like that actually would serve really well. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to commit to that. I try to not get too graphic with the descriptions, but I think that's what we're going to do. So rewards, we'll say, for the rewards, we're just going to say a few, we'll just do a few scattered coins worth about 3 GP total. There's just like coins that they've kind of dropped around everywhere. Half-eaten kid with bits on kebab sticks. Ooh, that's a little too dark. That's a little too dark. So there's always like that fine line to dance with, like getting dark, where it's like, yeah, it has to be dark enough that it can like make the players uncomfortable, but not so dark that I'm uncomfortable describing it. There's a subtle art to it. A few scattered coins with, and then what we'll do with mission tie-ins, we'll just say, going to just put in here, not a mission. Actually, no, we'll say, the bodies, the biddies. No, the bodies. No, that's a really inappropriate way to describe someone who died. Look at that biddy over there. The bodies, are those of some of the people that were kidnapped. Players can find a few personal effects as part of the efforts to save prisoners, or at least give closure to their families. And we'll just kind of leave it at that. On White Wolf games, par for the course. Vampire Masquerade start. That's the thing about it too, is like, this is the other reason why like I try to leave my things kind of like, as I'm writing them, not super dark, so that way like I have a baseline, a good way to describe it that's pretty tame, because when I'm writing these modules, I might use them again in years and years, and so it's like, I always feel like it's easier to go darker. I find it's easier to go darker than it, like, I mean, obviously it's easier to go darker than it is to retract something too dark that you've already said, right? Like, so it's easier to add darkness. And especially the reason that it's easier is because if that's what your players are interested in, or at least okay with it, usually when you start describing something, they'll kind of like fill in, like half joking, half realistically, you know, the gaps of like, oh yeah, it's a half-eaten kid. Right, like they'll throw that in there. So it's like I always find it's easier to just kind of keep the description PG-13, because then you can go rated R if you want to. It's easier to add gross, like I say, it's easier to add gross verbiage than it is to take it away if you've already said it and people are uncomfortable with it. So maybe that's kind of where it goes for me. Because like when it comes to describing it, yeah, like I'll say, like I'll flippantly say all kinds of dark, nasty stuff, because you're just describing a scene and it's a fictional thing, and you're trying to make villains seem as evil and villainous as possible. So you know you kind of have to, and I'm pretty practiced at it these days. But yeah, I try to keep it like PG-13, because like I say, it's easier to go darker if you need to. Easier to go darker if you need to. It's like getting a haircut, right? You can always take off more if you decide you need to. So it's always easier to start with like the hair, cutting off less hair than you intend to, because you can't put it back on once it's cut off, right? I mean, you can wait for it to grow back, so it's kind of no harm, no foul. But you know, like if you're getting someone ready for their wedding, right, and you take too much hair off, it's like, oh boy, you're gonna get a bad Yelp review there. But if you don't take enough off, you can always be like, okay, yeah, let's take a little more. You know, there you go. It all works out perfectly. So it's like, it's strategic, right? So really, when it comes to me being a good person, it's just strategic. So that way I can just like slowly feed people my dark, twisted personality, you know, under wraps as long as I need to. Exactly. Yeah, like it's just because like I've been with some groups that really like the dark, twisted, eldritch horror level awful stuff, right? They like that atmosphere that gets set for them. And then there's other groups that just like the thought of blood makes them queasy. So it's like, you know, just keep it light, and then if they want to hear about the blood splatters, then go ahead and describe it. You weird crime scene analyst. Narrative. Okay, so let's see here. We'll say an abandoned campfire smolders in the center of what appears to be a communal meeting area. Smolders. There we go. I added the U there. Abandoned campfire smolders in the center of what appears to be a communal meeting area. We'll just say bones. Wait, that's how we can make it dark. We'll just say bones from various unknown sources. Let their minds kind of fill in the blank there. Lay scattered about, along with various bits of trash and stolen knick-knacks from town. By the fire, however, is a gruesome. Gruesome? There it is. I got there. I just had to keep guessing at the number of vowels there until I got it right. By the fire, however, is a gruesome sight. We'll say 2 charred bodies lay among the glowing embers, with a few charred personal effects nearby. It would seem that not all prisoners taken survived the night. Boom, there we go. We'll just do that, and then if they care, like you just mentioned, and see, here's where you can kind of like give players autonomy, and rather than trying to, and like without, like you can give them the chance to put importance on things if they want to, right? And you just describe it. The charred bodies lay among the glowing embers with a few charred personal effects nearby, right? You just kind of mention that in passing. So then if they're like, oh, I'm curious about those things, you can sort of ad-lib some details there and they can pick it up. Or if they pass by, then they just pass by and that's not something that they do, right? It's a good way to not like give away that there's maybe something to do there, but also offer the clue. You know, pro tip right there. That's an enviro tip for you, which has nothing to do with the environment like an enviro tip might suggest. Job well done. I did it. patting my own back. No danger. Yeah, and there's like no significant reward here either, so we'll do that. I think 8 was Oh, the cave. Cool. Yeah, we can describe the cave. This one's also going to have no danger. What we're going to do is we're going to say, instead of danger, we're going to say, let's see here. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say puzzle. I want there to be a puzzle here. Puzzle, and we're going to say stealthy entrance slash you know, we'll just say hidden path. Hidden path. There you go. Just with the environment of the story. That's right. Exactly. The environment of the game setting that you're trying to create. Nailed it. We got it. See, this is why I appreciate having you guys around. You help me justify my existence. A horrible way to phrase it. All right. Okay, narrative. We'll do that. So instead of a danger, we're going to put a puzzle here. And what I want to do, I'm trying to think, like, it's not even necessarily that it's a puzzle per se. At least it's not meant to be one that's going to, like, be difficult for the players to accomplish. I guess what I'm going to say for it is we're just going to say, I'm going to make this a DM note here for the puzzle, and we're just going to say, if players first approach this area from the outside, they will need to search for the opening to... Actually, you know what I'm going to do even better? Here's what I'm going to say. They will not have access to the tunnel unless... Oh, I'm trying to think here. Do I want to, like, flat out, like, not give them? Because there's that secret tunnel that they can possibly enter the battlefield through that opens up in that little cave right there. And so my thought, like, and it's set up like it's meant to be an escape route for, like, the king, you know, or at least that's when it was built. It was meant to be an escape route out of the town for the king, right? It leads back to, like, the royal grounds. And so it would really just make sense for, unless they approach it from the inside and can, like, prop it open, it's not accessible from the outside, right? Like, it's just downright, it's latched on the inside. So even if you know where the door is meant to be, like, hidden behind, like, it's a stone door that's essentially just a boulder that's been put on a hinge, right? And so it's like, unless you know, like, unless you have the latch to release the locking mechanism on the other side, the boulder just won't move, and it's just a boulder that's in the way. And there's, as far as you know, it's just a small little alcove in that little cliff / hill that's right there. So I feel like, as harsh as it is, if they don't approach from there, it just stays locked. The only reason that I say it's harsh is, like, it's clearly going to be the best avenue for, where's my map? It's clearly going to be the best avenue for freeing our prisoners, right? But if it's locked, maybe that's, like, part of the issue. I guess that's kind of where the concept of it being a puzzle. Maybe there is a way through. We'll say through the tunnel, unless they can we'll say, find and activate the locking mechanism, right, to unlock it. So it's like, maybe there is a way to do it. But we'll say, we can just kind of set up, what I'm thinking for this puzzle is, rather than it being like a riddle for them to solve, we'll just have it be a couple of, we'll have it be a couple of checks, where it's like, you know, DC... What do we have the difficulty settings set to? Like, so an easy check is 13, a medium is 15, and difficult is 17. If we do, like, a few things, so it's like, find and activate the lock mechanism. We'll say DC 13 to notice that one of the vines on the ceiling is actually a length of rope. Let's see here. All those, do any of your high enough intelligence to be literate. They've been known to be able to write abyssal. Yeah, the gnolls in mine, I would say, are intelligent enough to have like a written language. They are sentient beings. The truth of these gnolls is that they're kind of a product of the unhinging with like the magical radiation. Where they like kind of they started off as just like a type of wild dog or something like that, but then the radiation kind of over the years from the magical places kind of turned them into these like humanoid creatures. And in conjunction, what our players are eventually going to learn is that the gnolls are in league with some other people / creatures / factions, whatever. And so like they would kind of be learning a little bit. So yeah, they would be literate, not extremely. Like we're talking like their reading capacity maxes out at like Curious George here, right? Like it's not, they're not exceptionally brilliant, but they are, you know, they're there and functional. I'm thinking if we do like a stepwise in difficulty, so like DC 13, I kind of like trying to do that with like puzzles where they just have to make multiple checks as opposed to like the players relying on their like knowledge and ability to solve riddles is usually what I prefer. So DC, so if like we do that in DC 15 to let's say DC 15, I'm trying to think about it, so it's like 14 to notice that the rope's there. To be a note from one squad to another hinting at a tunnel. Well, that's the thing though, like they're gonna be aware of the tunnel from the beginning. It's gonna be up to them whether they go through the tunnel or not. Is the idea. So like the puzzle isn't whether they know the tunnel's there. The puzzle is whether they can figure out how to get into the tunnel from the outside. Because they're going to be given that option like from the beginning. Because they're gonna have a powwow with leadership, within like the guard leaders, aka like the king, essentially of the town, the king of town, and his poopsmith. Bonus points if you know that reference. But they're gonna have a briefing and he's gonna say, now you can do this, but it's gonna deposit you right in the center of the gnoll camp, and so it's gonna be up to players. But then if they don't do it, it's got to be a challenge to find it, because like the reward of taking it from the beginning, even though you know it deposits them right in the center of gnoll country there, gnoll country for old men. Ha! There it is. Oh man, we came upon that one. Took us a while, but we got there. But like, so it's like it'll deposit them right among all of the gnolls, but the flip side is then they will have that secret tunnel, but it could be like revealed. Whereas if they choose to not do that, by the time they get there, they're gonna have to figure it out, right? Because it's not going to be just like an obvious doorway or something like that. So I'm thinking DC 15. Thinking like I'm trying to think about basically like. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's fine. I hadn't really explained it, so that's totally fair. That's one of the awkward things about like, you know, writing these things out is like I know exactly what's happening, but everyone doesn't. But that actually also kind of outlines why descriptive language and stuff is so important, especially for these games, right? Because people will sometimes wonder, and even myself included, I'll sometimes wonder how players can miss like really obvious things, but like. It's really obvious when you already know the solution. But if you don't know the solution, things aren't always obvious. The way I always describe it is like you can write something at like in a big black Sharpie block letters on my forehead. But the fact is I can't see my own forehead. And even if I could, I'd have to use a mirror and I'd be looking at it backwards, right? So it's like it just kind of exemplifies you can think that something is clear as day, but from a different perspective, you can't understand it at all, right? And you might not even be aware that it's there. So that's part of the reason why I don't like the puzzles and stuff in my games to be reliant on player knowledge. It's more so about like offering them the hint that there's something to investigate, and then they can try and investigate it with like a roll. So it's like in this situation, they're gonna know that there is a tunnel there, but they're not gonna be able to see it. So then they'll presumably do some sort of investigation, perception check or whatever. DC 13 to notice one of the vines on the ceiling is actually a length of rope. AC 15 to, we'll say like I'm thinking it's like it's a stepwise process where it's like the rope when like tugged upon or something like that, or the rope when pulled a certain way will release a hatch that then like shows where there's like a secret handle that will unlock the door or something like that, you know? So like DC 15 to, we'll say, know how to tug the rope to release the hidden door with a lever on it, as we'll say. And then what we can do here now is DC 17, here's what it is, to successfully pull the lever to release the door, the door locking mechanism. There we go. So it's like you do something like that. So it's like there is kind of some stuff to figure out, but it's kind of more so just about like, oh, like I have to do something, like it's a lever, obviously I should pull it. And so it's more like it relies on their characters and lets their knowledge. But like, you know, there's also sort of a, you know, DC 15 to know how to tug the rope. So it's just like, if someone just says I pull the rope, then I can just be like, yeah, that's good enough. They'll pull it. They give me a strength or dexterity check, and it's like, yeah, no, you pulled it, you know, that way. Or if it doesn't go there, it's like, yeah, it just doesn't budge, you know. And so someone's like, oh, I want to look into it, and then you can give them the intelligence check, like, oh, yeah, no, like, as you look at it, you can see that this one kind of has to be pulled a certain way, you know, based on the way it's set up, you know, and you can just kind of do stuff like that. And it just makes it easier to make sure that they have the opportunity, but also make sure that they don't accidentally give it away themselves. Because I noticed too, the thing with riddles is it's always going to be dependent on player knowledge, which is like, you know, it's got two negatives, because they can potentially ruin the challenge by just being good at riddles, right? Even though their character isn't good at riddles, right? Or you can have the flip side of it be the character is really good at riddles, and so you roll an intelligence check and you have to just give them the answer to the riddle before they even actually have to think about it, because you let them roll it. So it's like you kind of trap yourself in this situation where the riddle actually isn't going to be much of a gameplay mechanic at all, and it's going to be more so just like, hey, roll the dice and see if my player is as smart or my character is dumber than, as smart as, or smarter than me. And that's just not a great way to make it engaging, I find. Hi, kitty. You want to come up? Is that why you're staring? You want to come up and say hi to everyone? As I always say, you're much more popular than me. They would love to see you. Come on up. You can do it. Come on. I know you were sleeping real hard on the couch there. She's kind of got that sleepy dazed look. Play high intelligence character when I'm done. Next movie will be smart in real life. Yeah, exactly. So it's like I try to set these things up so it's more so about like there's obviously something to do, but they have to decide exactly how their character approaches the solve, and then like you just kind of ad lib and yes and that. So like that's, I don't know, it's a very vague way to describe it, and it's not entirely descriptive. Well, that's what vague means, so now I'm being redundant, and we're just gonna travel all the way through the dictionary, the thesaurus. But Kitty, do you want to turn around and say hi? Look. Go say, look, say hi. No, look at the camera. She's not ready for the camera yet. She's still looking she's looking very disheveled here. Isn't that right, honey? I know you were sleeping. She's been napping all day on the couch, and she is looking very disheveled from it. I know. Do you want to snuggle? Is that what you're wanting? Psst, psst, come here. Come here. Come here. There's a good girl. That's a good girl. You just curl up on my lap and wake up. There we go. There she is. There. See? There's the little girl. She's gonna just kind of edit and hang out. I know, you're a good girl. You're a very good girl. Yeah. If you haven't figured it out, I'm very obsessed with my cat, and I don't care who knows. I love my cat dearly. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh shoot, hold on one second. I will be right back. I'm so sorry. You just got cozy, kitty. I have to go check something for work. I will be right back. Hold on, give me a second. You know, I'm not even gonna go pause. This will be very quick. I know, I'm sorry, kitty. Okay. All right. I'm back. Sorry. I occasionally have to respond to emails and stuff for work, and I just needed to address someone's question very quickly, but I think we're good to go. All right. Oh shoot. Make sure. Okay. All right. Cool. We're good to go. All right. Yeah. No, I occasionally just have to make sure that important stuff isn't happening. My job is oftentimes very reactionary to situations. So, but we're good. Everything is a-okay. My cat sleeps all day, magically appears in different places without anyone seeing him move. On the couch sleeping. Or the kitchen just sleep on the counter. I like it. I really like it. I don't know where my cat went. I feel bad. She was all snuggled up and everything, and then I had to go take care of that. Oh well. She'll be back. I know she won't hate me forever, just for like an hour or two. I know she'll be back very soon, because we are within an hour. We're at about an hour left of the stream, which means that she, any time now, is going to start complaining about wanting dinner. So she'll be back. She'll be back and acting very, very sweet and happy and lovey. There she is. Hey, you just reappeared. What's that? Did you get like a tuft of fur? She looks up at me. You want to come up? You want to try coming up again? Come here. Here. Psst. You look much more alert than you did a few minutes ago. Come here. Want to come up? Like, no, I don't want to. She does that. She'll do that all the time, where she'll like look at me and then like walk away. Like, no, I don't want to. Oh, now she's coming here. Come on up. There's a good girl. There she is. Okay, I know, Kitty. There's the cattail. Yeah. Just gonna. Did you want to be on the lap? Do we want to try that again? Psst, psst. Do you want to try snuggling up again? She's like, I don't know. You betrayed me last time. Come here. There's a good girl. Come on. Like, no, I don't want to. Well, now you're standing right in front of the keyboard and I can't type. What are you working on? Don't you knock over the soda. Don't you do it. You cat. Such a cat. What are you working on, honey? Did you want the lap? Oh, now you're looking at your cat tree. Maybe she's gonna go hang out up there. She's taken to hanging out in her cat tree when she's hungry, and it's not time for me to feed her yet. We don't know. We're pacing. All right. Well, I'm just gonna let her work it out and figure it out. Okay. We're gonna lay down. We're gonna do our signature move. We're gonna lay down. You can see her. There she is. You can see her laying down. You can see my mouse and my keyboard right there. She's gonna lay down right in the way of me using my mouse. So that way, it's her signature move. That way, every time I move the mouse, it bumps her, and she can get really mad about it, so she can turn around and bite my hand. That's what's gonna happen. What she does. All right, so there we go. So I think this is good. Rewards are kind of, the reward here is really just going to be, I don't think I need it. Yeah, it's gonna automatically be black. So the reward for this one is, if the tunnel is opened, it can be used as a secret way in and out of the field/city. So that way, that's like the reward, is they just kind of have like a different way to kind of go through the area. And that certainly is going to be good news for them. So that's perfect. Mission tie-ins for this one, I'm just going to say is generally helpful for all of them as an alternative route in and out of the area. Boom, there we go. All right, that's good. So we'll do the narrative here. This one's going to be a bit more descriptive than some of the others that we've done, which is perfect. Let's see here. We'll say, I don't want to say yeah. So I have like one of them grip strength trainers. It's like a little rubber donut that you can squeeze, because I do a lot of rock climbing. So I have one of those things just so I can like idly just kind of like work on my grip strength. Kitty is using that as a pillow right now. That can't be comfortable, honey. That can't be comfortable. She's like, it is, don't bother me. I know, sweet kitty. Oh, I know, sweet kitty. Did you want to try the lap again? You're looking like you want some attention, but maybe not like Scritch's attention. You look like you probably just want your food attention. Want the lap? Like, no, I'm going to hit the microphone with my tail now. My life. This is my life. It is my life, my productivity, my attention span are all controlled by this fuzzy little demon. Don't sit down. Oh, don't put your little butt right on my papers. She's putting her little butt right on my papers. She's gonna sit there and she's gonna pout. Look at her. She's just sitting there with her back to me. Like, this is her pouting. Just sits there with her back to me. She's like, I'm not looking at you. I'll make sure you know I'm here, but I'm not looking at you. I know, kitty. Alright, so let's see here. There is a small opening. Let's see here. How do I... Yeah, I think I'll describe it as if from the outside. Because we can always ad-lib from the inside if we need to. Small opening on the side of... On the side of the... low cliff outside of the city wall. Directly inside is nothing but a small alcove. Small alcove of dirt and stone. One wall in particular is nothing but a giant boulder. Let's say giant boulder wedged into the earth. But to those who are aware, it isn't just a boulder, but rather... Actually, no, I don't want to describe that. I don't really want to describe that. You know what I'm gonna do actually for this one? I'm gonna do a couple bullets here. Actually, I am gonna do two different descriptions. We're going to say narrative changes. I'm gonna put a DM note for this just to make sure I don't accidentally read this out loud to players. Changes based on if they know where the door is or not. What we'll do. So we'll say, and then we'll say if they know about the tunnel. We'll do this one. Know about the tunnel, and I'm gonna make that DM note as well, just to again make sure I know which parts to check first. Because I always know, like, I've trained myself. The red font means it's a DM note. And so if I see the red font, I know I should read that first, but not read it out loud. And that's actually a really valuable thing to do. Like, it's easy to be, like, sitting here and in the moment think, like, oh, you know, I'll just, like, write all this stuff here, and I'll know which parts to read out loud and which parts not to. But when you kind of get in the zone and you're just going, it's not always as obvious, and it can really slow things down if you have to look through and figure out, like, what should and shouldn't be read at any given time. So, I want nothing. I want nothing you can give me. I want to be a nuisance. Yes, that is the way of the cat. She is cat. That is her way. Hila. What are you doing? What are you just pouting there for? Like, you know what I'm pouting for. I want dinner. Okay, you got like I know you got like an hour to wait. I'm sorry. I know it's disappointing. Life is a very disappointing experience in many ways. I'm sorry. All right, you gonna try and snuggle up now? She's gonna be like super sweet. She's gonna like snuggle up on my lap and be like, but look how sweet and loving I am. Don't you want to do everything for me? I know, poor hungry baby. Poor little hungry little baby. No, don't rub the microphone. Don't do it. Yeah, well, okay. You guys are gonna get some kitty ASMR. I'm sorry. Accidentally read DM notes players. Yeah, absolutely. That it totally happens. It totally happens. And I mean, like, as long as you're with good players, and like I play with friends and they all laugh and they're really good about not taking the meta knowledge. You know, like making sure that they don't use that to their advantage. But yeah, like, it's like, you know, you work so hard on it, you want to make sure you get it right because you've worked really hard on curating this experience for them. I know, kitty. She's snuggled up on my lap now, but her tail is doing her very impatient flick. So I can tell she's kind of sitting there. She's like, fine, I'll take this, but I don't really want this. Okay. There's nothing but a giant boulder wedged into the wall. However, those in the know are aware that this boulder is a door, and that somewhere in this chamber is a mechanism to open this secret door for access to the tunnel that will lead within the city grounds. Boom, we'll do that. And then we'll just add now, if they don't know about the tunnel. And actually what we can just do, this we can actually keep this really easy and simple, save ourselves a little bit of work, is we can just copy this part and just like have it end there. Right, so if you just end it right there, you know, then you're good to go. Then you're good to go. What are you doing, kitty? That can't be comfortable. She's got her head like wedged under the armrest right now. That can't be comfortable, you goofball. Such a cat, made of liquid. But yeah, so like we could just do that, and then that describes it pretty good. But that way, because like I could put like a little note about like, oh, only read to this part or something like that, but this just keeps it quicker and easier. I could be like, okay, like when I get in here, it's like, okay, they're in room 8, get to here. Changes based on if they know where the door is or not, if they know about the tunnel, if they don't know about the tunnel. Then I don't have to worry about how much to read and all that kind of stuff, or trying to figure out like, oh, wait, I put a DM note halfway through here. Just separate bullets, copy and paste. It's easy. It takes up 0 resources because it's all on the computer. It's not like I'm using extra paper to do it this way, so might as well do it that way. So I think that's perfect. I think that's all we need for that one. We got a good little puzzle there. It's a puzzle that's really dependent on player roles, not on, or yeah, like character roles rather than player knowledge, which is just the way to go about it. It really is the better way to do it. Always is. Hi. You've reemerged from under the armrest. I know. Life is a cruel thing. Trust me, I understand, okay? Like, I'm always hungry at this point in time, too, but I don't get to eat until after kickboxing. Because if I did it during... If I ate too much before kickboxing, I would hurl all over everyone, which, you know, would end the fight, but probably wouldn't result in me winning the fight. So, you know, we don't train that way. They always... In fact, it's actually part of the rules. If you vomit on the ring, you lose. Like, most places will include that in the rules. Because the idea is that, you know, you should be under control of your faculties enough that you're not going to throw up in the ring. And if you do, then you're the reason that the fight ends, but you didn't win the fight. So, because like some people, okay, now we're getting down a really unrelated rabbit hole, but some people will try to argue like, oh, it should just be no contest or something like that. Usually they'll count it as a disqualification and your opponent wins. The exception might be if you get kicked so hard in the stomach that you yak. Right? It's not like, obviously they wouldn't say it's your fault, but in that situation they would probably call it a TKO because you got hit so hard that you vomited and you can't continue fighting. Because if you get hit so hard that you hurl, you probably shouldn't continue fighting. Also, shame on you for eating right before a fight. That was dumb. Grossest one ever. Yeah, seriously. Seriously. Biological warfare didn't pan out for the person who tried to do it. All right, look at this go. We've only got 2 more. We've only got 2 more. Okay, we got 40 minutes and we only got 2 more rooms. I would hope that I'm capable of just doing this much in twice over in 40 minutes because we don't even have to do that much. In fact, a lot of this for one of these ones can just be copied and pasted from the other room that has all of like the catapults and stuff. The other area. I shouldn't really call it a room. It's not a room. But hi, kitty. I know. Oh, are we all done? Okay. Like, okay, it's not working. Clearly being sweet is not getting you to feed me sooner, so I will not continue to do it. Alright, so, well, now that she's not bothering me, because I keep well hydrated, I do have to run to the bathroom one more time. I'm gonna do that real quick, so that way I can just sit here, undistracted, unbothered by my biology, and we'll get these last 2 rooms done. So sit tight, I will be right back. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let's do this thing. We're gonna get this done. Gosh darn it. I'm gonna do it. Sorry. That was loud. I'm in the zone. All right. Area number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Okay. This one's gonna have a lot of fighting and stuff in it here. Yeah. This was gonna be this was gonna be our other medium battle. Did I decide? I gotta check and see what kind of battles we got left here. I know 10. In fact, I'm gonna do 10 first, because I know what this one is. That one's already more catapults, but I'm just gonna kind of like copy and paste a lot of stuff. One's a easy battle, and then there's not gonna be any sort of significant rewards involved in this one. But we can take, or is it war equipment? Oh yeah, well I guess we can call it the war equipment, but I'm gonna copy and paste. I'm gonna plagiarize myself. I'm gonna pull a John Fogerty and plagiarize myself. You guys like that deep cut? Who's into music enough to know that reference, huh? That's a good one right there. That's a damn good one if I do toot my own horn here. All right. We'll just mix things up a little bit here. Yeah. This'll work. Two board snowballs sit around. Idle catapults. Let's see here. Oh, you got it? Nice. I feel like it's a really good one, but I feel like it's such a niche one, because not only does it require that you have deep knowledge on music, but a very specific bit of deep knowledge about like a specific band and / individual. But that's a good one. That's a really good one. It is to be on the flip side though. That is, like, it's kind of significant trivia when it comes to just like music law and copyright issues in general. So it's kind of a fun fact. That is a fun fact enough. Someone like getting sued for plagiarizing themselves. I guess that is kind of a fun fact enough that you don't have to necessarily be a CCR or John Fogerty fan right there. But I don't know. Anyway, I'll get off that tangent. See, Dad's favorite. Nice. John Fogerty's just, he's a talented guy, and like he managed to bring a very kind of specific niche of classic rock type of stuff to a lot of people. He's kind of, I feel like John Fogerty and CCR are kind of in the same vein as like Jimmy Buffett, right? Where there's like, they have such a distinct sound, and everyone is like, and they found a way to take a very unique sound that like any other iteration of it is very very niche to someone who likes that specific genre, but somehow they managed to like nail it down and make it generalized enough that everyone enjoys it, right? That sort of like, for CCR, that kind of like bayou country, and for Jimmy Buffett, that sort of like beach surfer country, right? So Centerfield was played at his funeral. Oh, that's sweet. Centerfield is such a good one. My dad, I played baseball, like I played t-ball as a kid a lot, and I played baseball, and so my dad would always tell me that song makes him think of me. He still does, just because he remembers the days of being like my coach for like t-ball and stuff. I remember when my dad showed me the video of him playing on his like little baseball bat shaped guitar and everything. It's so fun. All right, I'm doing a really bad job of making sure we get this done today. I have so many thoughts, and I like to share them. I like to babble. I feel like that's why streaming works out well for me. It gives me an outlet to babble. Which is really funny, too, because I'm actually a pretty introverted person, yet here we are. Because it's because I don't have to actually see you, so I can just pretend you're my imaginary friends that I'm talking to while I'm home alone. And none of you are real. You're all figments of my imagination. I'm going crazy. Anyway. Okay, we gotta change this a little bit. Well, then wishing that it was time to fling rocks again. We'll say a couple snolls mill about slowly working on making just the voices in my head. Yeah, exactly. Certainly not the voices out loud in this scenario. No one is talking out loud at me. Well, I guess I can't say that for sure. Maybe you guys do talk out loud. I'm talking out loud as I type. I mean, I say it's for the benefit of the stream, but you know, I'll never tell that it's because I have the typing capacity of an 8-year-old and need to spell, like, sound words out as I spell them. A couple snolls Snow's Millabout, slowly working on making a somewhat organized pile, organized pile of boulders. Organized pile of boulders by the various catapults set up around here. They seem to generally be working, but they also seem unconcerned with the pace at which they are. Oops. Just to generally outline that these guys are bored. They're not like really into this job. They were just told to do this, and they're like, okay. So here's what I'm gonna do, just to like make it real easy. We're just going to get rid of those guys, and because we need 350, and we'll do 3. There we go, 350. Great, easy battle rewards. I don't know. We'll just make this one 7 gold. Why not? It's irrelevant. It's pocket change. It's not worth a lot, but players love looting, so there they go. Mission tie-ins can capture any souls if desired. They can kind of try to destroy or disable siege equipment if they want to. Perfect. And that's right there. Okay, great. Awesome. We have like a half hour to finish this. I think we can get it. I think we can get it done. So I'm going to get distracted and talk about something else for 25 minutes. So we'll only have 5 minutes to finish the last room. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I want to actually get this done. I want to, damn it. I want to do it. Gosh dang it. All right. Which one is this? Room 9. Oh yeah, that's right. It's the big collective here. So this one I got to check and see. So we've got 1 easy, 2 easy, red easy, blue easy. No, what? So we got our 3 easy battles. Got our hard, 1 medium, 1 boss battle. Oh, we already have all of the. What? I thought. Hold on. Where's my? Oh, you know what? I know exactly what I did wrong. Pretty conventionally, I will also, with my 10 room scheme that I'll conventionally do. Not only will I, what I'm missing here is I have our puzzle room. And I have a no danger area. I don't have a trapped area. Because it doesn't make sense for there to be a trapped area around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw another easy battle at them. Rather than just because if I'm already adding extra, this is already more challenge than my sort of homebrew mathematical system for determining how much challenge to give them. Says like I'm already going overboard, especially in an open area like this, where depending on how players approach this and what they do, they could draw the attention of other enemies from nearby. I don't want to overload them too much here, so we'll just do an easy battle, so that there is like some sort of danger there, but then nothing too exceptional. So we'll do easy battle, and this will just be a generic camp. In fact, I'm going to copy. Maybe this one. Maybe this one actually here. And we'll just kind of do the same thing. We'll just like adjust a few things. Just to save ourselves a little bit of effort here. This is the #1 tip that I can offer to anyone else who wants to be a world builder and or a DM. Find as many shortcuts as you can for everything that you do. Because it takes a lot of time to do this stuff, and you know, your players will still expect you to have everything all prepped for every session. So, you know, do what you have to do. Which is actually kind of a hard thing for me to say, because clearly I'm a big fan of getting into the details and the nitty-gritty, but there always comes a certain point where you have to just like let yourself not worry about perfecting every detail. Otherwise, it's very easy to kind of fall under that analysis paralysis situation where you spend too much time overthinking stuff and not getting stuff done. So, you know, find the balance. And for me, the balance is always like, you know, once we've kind of added all of the crucial elements to a map, let yourself kind of copy and paste the other areas so that there's enough flavor to make it feel like an open world that isn't only designed for them to accomplish a goal, but rather they have a goal to accomplish in an existing area, right? That's how you can make your worlds feel a little open, is have stuff that is unimportant there, You know, maybe like the way I put it is I always make an area full of resources, and then players are just trying to accomplish a goal using the resources available to them, right? And so it's like, you know, we kind of offer these types of situations, and like it's kind of like it's not so much that the battle or the dangerous area is a resource, but rather, you know, it's I guess I should clarify and say an area of resources and challenges, right? And it's up to them to accomplish their goal by using the resources to overcome the challenges. So here's like challenges, and the resources are the environment around them. The way how we've got like some cliffs that they can hide over or under. They've got secret entrances. They've got forests to hide in. So they got plenty of resources. Now I'm just giving them challenges to have to deal with. Whether it's they kill them all, whether they avoid them, it's kind of irrelevant. It's up to them. That's what the story consists of them choosing their specific pathway. But at any rate, blah, blah, blah. We're going to put a battle here. We want 650 experience points total. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take these guys out. We're going to 3 of these guys. I'm going to do 1 guy. I actually have an amusing, like, hold on. Oh, wait, I wanted to do, you know what? We're going to leave this one as a medium battle. We're going to do this just because I think this is, no, we can leave this as an easy battle. Hold on, I have an idea. I know how we can do this, because it's already kind of set up for me to do this easy. Where is it? Come on. There we go. So instead, we're just going to get rid of these guys. And we'll do 1 right there. And what we're going to do is, we're just going to say, it appears that boredom has met, boredom has turned into hazing at this particular cluster of tents. You see a crowd of 3, a crowd of snolls. A crowd of gnolls. Say a crowd of 3 snolls. Why am I this way? There we go. I know how to spell crowd, I promise. I say that after having just misspelled it like twice. You know, some days are better than others. Also, we're kind of at the end of stream, and my brain always kind of starts turning to mush when we get to this stage. Appears that boredom has turned into hazing at this particular cluster of tents. See a crowd of 3 snolls surrounding 1 particularly small and runty looking one. Wrong one. Wow, we're just in a different phase of inability to right now. We're replacing words with like the wrong spelling of the right word. Particularly small and runty, surrounding 1 particularly small and runty looking one. The 3 appear to be playing keep away. There we go. Keep away with a, I don't know, what would it be? Maybe a piece of food or something like that. With a hunk of some sort of charred meat. The 3 appear to be playing keep away of some sort of charred meat, while the small one scrambles back and forth, begging to have its meal returned to it. If it weren't a snoll in a camp only yards away from cages filled with prisoners, you might even feel bad for the guy. And in fact, many players were. It's a little risky to put words in their mouths right here, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say most players aren't gonna be super big fans of the snolls at this point in time. You know, they just attacked their village, and now they found out that they're, like, burning prisoners alive and stuff like that. Like, it's not cool. So, we'll just do that. We're gonna, let's see, this needs to be worth 350 instead of 650. Just change this to easy battle, so everything is copacetic. Easy battle. What we'll do is we'll take away the gems here, but we'll go ahead and add a significant amount of gold as if it's a horde. We'll say 112 gold piece in quarters because there's like a horde here. But we'll say. And you capture any souls if desired. And I'm going to add one other thing just to make this interesting. If the players do decide to help the runty Snoll, he will be willing to help in a minor way, such as not calling, we'll say helping them find the key, or even, actually, we'll just say small ways, such as not calling the other Snolls over while the players go about their business. So it's like, you know, he might, if they do decide to do that. And maybe if I'm gonna do that, maybe I'll just take away this part where I'm trying to like hint at they're not allowed, because like that kind of almost says you're not allowed to feel bad for them. But by saying like you'd almost feel bad, like I am putting words in their mouth. And if I weren't gonna offer that as a reward, I'd be willing to do it, because I don't, like I said, I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of sympathy for him. But if there's going to be a reward for showing sympathy, perhaps I shouldn't be, you know, gaslighting them into not having sympathy for them. That just is, you know, they're never gonna be nice if I tell them they shouldn't be nice to it. So, although maybe that would actually encourage it, because players always do the opposite of what you intend for them to do. So, you know, who's the idiot now? There's no getting it right. There's just no getting it right. Bada bing, bada boom, you guys, we got it all done. We did it. Yay. There, that's all. That's all. There's no fanfare. I should get myself a party blower, so that way when I have those, I can just like kind of do like the sad, you know, just like one of them ones that's like not very functional. It just kind of like squeaks a little bit rather than letting out a nice salad like. No, I'm happy with this. I'm really happy with how this came out. I really like this map. It's the softest celebration ever. I do like myself a super soft party, personally. There's another reference for those of you who have the same taste in media as I do. I do love a super soft party. As someone who is not at all a fan of anyone throwing parties for me, if there's ever a situation where someone insists upon it, I always insist that it be a super soft party with lots of cupcakes and sparkly things and small child's birthday stuff. So, Timmy Trumpet myself. Oh boy. Good stuff. Good stuff. Mission accomplished, no doubt. Look at that, and we did it with time to spare. We got like a whole, no. I don't care about the news. I really wish I could make Windows stop doing that. We did it with like 20 minutes to spare. So I guess that means we can kind of start working on maybe a couple other things, which is super neato mosquito. I'm going to save this. I know I didn't make any changes, but I'm going to save it anyway just because I'm paranoid. And this auto saves for us. This is good. And so now in this situation, I'm going to actually, because of how I'm writing this one and because of all of the different missions and because I'm trying to work really hard on having some like outcomes and stuff, like having different missions and impact stuff, we're going to go ahead and take some time. I'm going to flesh this out and say potential outcomes. So basically it's just going to be based on what they do and don't succeed for the missions here. In fact, I'm going to copy and paste this just so we can have it for reference right down there. What the possible, you know, results of that can be. And so we'll just kind of do some stuff here. So the primary story, with the Snolls having retreated from the city, scouts on the wall have identified the Snoll leaders. Okay, so primary story, we're just going to go ahead and say, if players successfully kill the leader, then they are the catalysts. Actually, we'll say kill or capture the leader. They are the catalysts for the Snow retreat and will receive extra rewards and accolades back in the city. If players are unsuccessful, which there's not really a reason for them to not be successful unless it's just going on forever, or if they're like super injured and they decide to retreat, you can kind of throw this in there. Players are unsuccessful, a different group at a different part of the Snow siege camp are the catalysts. We'll say players aren't punished or anything, but they are not yet seen as heroic around town. So it's like, you know, it'll have a little bit to do with the reputation, which doesn't necessarily have any like tangible results, but it's like, you know, if they're trying to cut deals or something like that, if they're the heroes, like if they're already known as heroes around town, then I'm more like, you know, I'll ease the DC check on their, you know, on their persuasion rolls and stuff like that. So we can do stuff like that. So but one way or another, as you can see, one way or another. In fact, I'll put this right here. We'll say one way or another. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. No, one way or another, the siege is broken and the players will be part of the planning for the next steps of the adventure. Boom. So one way or another, that's going to happen. So in this situation, and that's kind of like the trick, right, is to make sure that the story in some way, shape, or form goes along. So you want to try and find discrete ways to like let the train keep chugging down those railroad tracks without making players feel like they're like being forced on them, you know? And so if you make it so that there's just something where it's like, and some, like basically what this is doing is like, they'll still kind of feel like, oh, they didn't succeed at killing that leader. And the other thing that we can do, we can also say if they encountered the leader, he'll probably be back later on as a budding nemesis. He's not going to be the final boss, but you can add stuff like that there. So it's like you can still have consequences for it while still kind of pushing the story along, you know, rather than just like making players continue to spin their wheels until they guess exactly what you want them to do. You know, so it's like, because the other thing too is there's a million ways that neither of these happen exactly, but these are just sort of like generalizations to understand sort of what to keep in mind for future things when we're writing them up, right? Because that way we can write ahead and know like, okay, well, one way or another this is going to happen, so let's go ahead and set up scenarios, and maybe we have just a couple alternate descriptions based on which one happens. And you can kind of just do that type of stuff to be able to still plan ahead. So as far as side missions, okay, so the citizens here. So we're gonna go ahead and I'll go ahead and do prisoners and corpses. If players freed the citizens, they will get extra rewards and accolades. Also, probably some family members are shop owners that will give discounts. You can do stuff like that. And we'll say if players found the corpses and salvaged the personal effects, they can return those for special rewards. And what I'll do is say one will gift them the prized possession of the deceased, which is a rune stone. So you can kind of like I like to use those like really cool things as like sort of these hidden extra rewards for those types of things, so that way they're not too common but still present and findable if players are just kind of doing some of the more obvious optional things, you know. Can't wait to play Let's Be Seen. Definitely need to find a group. Dice Paul Mitchie. Nice. I feel that. It is the curse of someone who has demonstrated the ability to DM. It is the curse of becoming the forever DM. I am very lucky that I DM one group and I am the player in another group. I'm very lucky that there's another group that that someone else is a DM for. Because that has not been the case for most of my life. That's a development in the past year that I'm very happy about. But yeah, I know very well that feeling. What did I just delete? What did I just... What is that? Oh yeah, okay, if they capture... Okay, so... If players have captured any snolls, they will have insider information for future missions at Snoll camps. We'll say secret ways in, hidden treasures, and we'll even say maybe even contacts, maybe even defectors. We'll say defectors, or we'll say maybe even traitorous. Traitorous. There it is. Maybe even traitorous snolls who will actively help players, right? So it's like they can get some insider information, and I'm just putting, these are just like some basic ideas of what we might use later, just to give myself some ideas, but just understanding that they're oh, the kitty has spotted the spider inside the lamp. Don't jump after it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Leela. Hold on. Look at this cat. Look at her. She's staring because the spider's up in that lamp. She's staring. She's so desperately staring. Don't jump after it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. She's like, what the hell? Yeah. I don't think she'll do it. Even if you had both eyes, that is not a jump to make. There's no landing zone there. That is you crashing into a lamp and causing destruction to not only property, but probably yourself. And I would feel just horrible if you were injured. So don't do that. Alright, so siege weapons. I'm going to do... Oops, let's do that. Siege weapons. If destroyed, they can... We'll say if destroyed, the city may salvage 1 or 2. If only disabled, the city will take all of them. And we'll say, depending on how many are taken, future threats to the city may be reduced or slowed down for easier handling by players. Because I haven't figured out exactly when or exactly how it's going to work, but I do intend for there to be future attacks on the city as well. Like, this isn't the only siege, this isn't the only attack by the Snolls on the city. And so for my intent is, don't jump. You're acting like you're gonna jump. Don't you do it. Gosh, I don't know if I've ever seen her this intense about something before. Hey, this is just messing with her brain right now. Or what brain there is in there. But yeah, no, I intend for there to be future wars against the city. And so if the players can help do this, and we're talking like way down the line. We're talking way down the line, so that hopefully players will have forgotten until they're like, they see that the city sets up the stuff. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. You can't get there, Leela. I will shoo you away if I have to. Sorry. I'm gonna have to go babysit in a minute here. But yeah, like the intent is for it to happen. Would you stop? Okay, I'm shooting. Do not jump after the lamp. Do not do it. I don't care how exciting it is. Don't you do it. My goodness, this cat. But yeah, there's gonna be a future attack at some point in time, and the players aren't gonna know when it's gonna happen. And my hope is that they will have forgotten about it by the time it happens. So yeah, my cat is over on her cat tree. We discussed it happened earlier in the stream. There's a spider on the inside of like the bowl lampshade of my lamp over there, so you can see it crawling around, and my cat has discovered it, and she is on her cat tree debating very seriously about whether she's just going to leap for the lamp to try and get whatever is moving on the inside of the shade. The dummy. Leave it. Leave it. You can't get it. Don't. Like, where do you think you're gonna jump? What do you think you're gonna do? Oh my god. Oh my god. But at any rate, so yeah, these are good. These are the potential outcomes of this area here. And then I put actual here. The reason I put actual here is like my intent is for like any of these modules to be reusable any number of times I need to for any number of campaigns I ever run. But I like to put the actual thing there just in case, so that way I can like, if I'm running, I like to, so with my players, I will oftentimes, like whenever we start a new campaign, so for example, this campaign is a different one than we were running a year ago, because our group composition changed, and so rather than trying to like readjust the entire campaign that they've been doing with one less player, because someone's work schedule changed and they couldn't keep playing with us, they wanted to retire the characters and start something new, and I thought that was totally fine. So we've started this new campaign. But this campaign takes place in the same world, just in the same world at the same timeline, but like in a different location. And so I always have in mind to put like the actual, so I can put like a note about which campaign shows which options, and so that way we can like there can be continuity, and I can do callbacks for them, and so I can remember what they chose, and so we can do callbacks and stuff like that. Have a laser pointer on hand 24/7. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried a laser pointer with this cat. I don't know if she'd go for it or not. She doesn't really play. Like, she likes to chase things, but she kind of more so just likes to sprint back and forth. She likes to sprint back and forth between watching birds and stuff. She doesn't really play with toys, so I don't know if she'd go for a laser pointer. She's super interested in that spider, though, I'll tell you what. But yeah, that's good. That's real good. I like that a lot. I'm really pleased with that. And so the actual, we'll just kind of leave that as it is, and you know, once our players go through and play this, then we'll take a few notes on what they did, and we'll see if it comes back to be important later. That's awesome. Oh man, very productive day. Very productive day, and the timing is about right. Asherbo, I'm sorry you're just coming in. Looks like, but the stream is coming to an end. I have to take care of a few things before then going to kickboxing class. So it is sadly time for me to call it a day. I want to bring us over to our chatting so I can do my little sign off. Boom. In a world where every PC joining the world after the campaign ended, PCs becoming kings and leaders. Yeah, stuff like that. Well, like, and that kind of plays into what I like about, you know, the rune system, where our players can make legendary items. So that way, maybe later on, they encounter, like, the legendary item that one of their other characters was using or something along those lines. I love to do callbacks like that. It's fun stuff. Fun stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to kick so many boxes, you have no idea. But yes, thank you to everyone who joined me this week, or not this week, we still got another day, the week's not over, but thank you for joining me today. One quick announcement for you guys before you all take off. Next week there will be no streaming. My usual stream, my Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday streams, 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. Pretty typically, that's my usual streaming schedule, Mondays and Thursdays being writing, Tuesdays and Fridays being gaming. I will not be streaming next week. I will be out having fun on vacation with loved ones, so I will not be able to be here streaming for you guys. Not that I don't love you guys all and you know, and all that, but you know, you just sometimes I got to get away from the computer screen. So I will be doing that. So no streaming next week, but after I should be resuming with my normal stream schedule the week after that. So I will make sure to put announcements on my Discord, which leads me to the next announcement, which is if you want to stay connected, there's a bunch of ways to do that. I've got Discord, I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram, I've got YouTube. YouTube's more so just about watching the VODs and stuff like that. Don't forget the Discord thing. Putting in the rune system rules and stuff like that. Yes, I will see if I can't maybe squeeze in and at least copy and paste some parts of it, like right now, before I have to do a couple other things before kickboxing. But yes, thank you for the reminder. I will like put a reminder in my phone or something like that. I will do that. I will do that for you guys. The other thing you could do is go put a note about it in the Discord itself too. So that way, and like I'll just make sure I don't like respond to it or like mark it as read until after I've taken care of it too. I'll know that that's there. So yes, I will happily I will divulge my divine secrets. I will happily do that, or at least some of them. Yeah, just like put a mention into Discord if I forget to do it. If I forget to do it, just like bother me in Discord about it. I'll get to it. I promise I'll get to it. It's not about me avoiding it. It's just because I keep forgetting and I got too much going on in my life. But yeah, so let's see here. So we talked about stream. The rest of this week, I should be back tomorrow for streaming some more Fallout 2. So if you want to watch me battle some giant geckos or whatever monsters we're going to find, tag along for that. And then we'll be on the weekend, and then I'll be on vacation. So yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff happens. Yeah, ADC happens. Yeah, I'm not pretty typically, but I feel like we all have our moments, right? For me, it's just I lead a busy life. I have a lot of balls in the air. But at any rate, thank you so much to all of you who stopped by. I appreciate you guys. I have a ton of fun with these streams. I love seeing all of like the enthusiastic, creative people that stop by. I love hearing your ideas. I love sharing my ideas with you guys. It's a good time, and I appreciate it. And I just feel really lucky that I have such an awesome audience. So I can't talk anymore. My mouth is numb. My voice is dying. And I couldn't be happier about it. So take care of yourselves. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. If not, have a good weekend and a good week next week. And I will see you when I get back. If I don't see you tomorrow. Either way, I appreciate you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you cats on the flip side.